So you know I'm paid in full. Hey, what's going on? It's another episode of the Teel podcast. I'm your host, Teel, and like always, I got another great guest, Mr. Justin Birtcher. What's going on, man?
What's up, bro?
Dude, I'm excited.
Me too.
Yeah, I appreciate
round
you.
2.
Yeah, I appreciate you putting me on your podcast. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We talked for 2 hours?
That was cool meeting for the first time on the podcast.
Dude, that's one of the coolest things. Like this happens all the time now. Like you meet this person, you're like, oh, well, now we're going to talk for 2 hours.
It is like the best way to meet somebody.
For real.
You like, when you leave, you're like, I got a pretty good understanding of who that person is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. These things show, like, that's like a new debate going on. You know, a lot of people really feel like the podcast had a big play in like the election and stuff.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
It
dude?
is.
As like a fan of Rogan, isn't it crazy to see that?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm living in a simulation, bro. It's so freaking weird.
But I mean, the numbers, like, how could it not have affected something?
Oh,
you know
man.
what I'm saying? And
I told my dad when the whole, like, the rumor came out, like, Trump was like, yeah, I am going on there. And they hadn't announced it yet. I told my dad, I said, that is going to be the deciding factor. If he goes on there and it goes well, Trump doesn't make him look like a fool, it's over with. Like, nobody has the reach that man does or the influence. Look how many people he's made famous. He's changed their lives, you know? Like, and so it's cool to see because I remember I started watching him in like 2009 when he was like doing it in his spare bedroom.
That's crazy.
Or his office at home. And you know, it was just like him and Eddie Bravo talking about aliens and shit. Yeah. And now he's having on fucking Elon Musk and Donald Trump and changing elections.
Yeah, that was wild. You know what I've been doing lately? I've been going back and listening to older episodes throughout just different time periods. Like today I went and listened to he went on there with Tim Dillon and this one guy that's like an analyst or whatever, the day of the last election. So 2020.
Alex Jones?
No, not Alex Jones. No. They were on a week before.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But this was the day of 2020 election. And it was and then I listened to one with Dave Smith in 2018. And I'm like, you can use these old podcasts to go back and figure out what was going on in different time periods.
Of, where we were at. Yeah. And wow, has it changed?
It's fun to see Rogan's opinion like slowly change of Trump.
Oh, man.
Because like at first you could tell.
I would not have him on this podcast.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Well, and I mean, he still claims to be like a bleeding heart liberal. In a lot of ways he is. But yeah. I think that, you know, the vid changed a lot of people. You know, I think it kind of like pushed them they saw what was going on, like, and how it could really affect our lives. And they were like, I don't know if I...
What do you think about it not trending when it was at 40 million views?
As to be expected.
Isn't that crazy? Like, that's weird. Because like Rogan's real specific. He won't just say they did it. You know, he's just like, that's kind of weird, right?
Yeah,
it's a little weird, isn't it?
Yeah, he's smart for that. Like he's he treads lightly on like, because he knows the amount of pushback and like, he knows if he says something kind of like not provable fact, then like they're going to come after him.
Yeah.
But
I think the amount of power those companies have is wild, though. Like the YouTubes, the Googles, the Meta, like, you know, and I think we are going to get a swing back, and you can kind of feel it already.
I feel it.
But like, there was a time where they kind of had control of the flow of information, which is scary to me because it's like, not even to just say that whole side is wrong, but it's like the amount of control they had is very scary
for anybody to have that control.
Yeah.
And that's what's like really important to look at it moderately in the sense of like, regardless of what side, left or right, has the control, for anybody to have it sets a precedent that like, you know, and that's the argument that like, yeah, it might be working in your favor today, but what happens when somebody that doesn't believe the way you do gets that power and uses it against you?
Yeah.
Now it's not so cool or so acceptable, you know?
Yeah. You know, Zuckerberg came out, made the statement that, you know, he was pressured by the Biden-Harris administration. They said, you know, he said, I was pressured into removing things and censoring things on COVID and stuff. So it's like, you know, and he's probably just trying to save his ass, which makes sense, you know, but especially how the tide kind of feels like it may be changing. It's definitely smart for him to, you know, which I feel like though some of these corporations, I feel like they will change on like a drop of a dime just to stay in the flow of shit.
They think,
Because on there, it feels like a money thing, but it's like everything seems to be a money thing. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's all influenced by money and power. I mean,
it's sad. I mean, these are our lives.
I know. It's our lives that are being played with.
Yeah. It's funny to see, I don't know, man, just with because, we're fresh off the election. I almost don't want to talk about it, but at the same time, we'll talk about it a little bit, But it's like,
it's so prevalent.
It shows a lot about like what's going on. And there's some weird ones that some things that just felt like, oh, that's a good idea. It got politicized. That's weird to me. Like when they say, let's get healthy again. Like, why is that a political statement?
Oh, yeah. I see people criticizing Robert Kennedy Jr. all the time on like social media for like with a vaccine denier and like just these buzzwords that really mean nothing.
Yeah.
Like how can you argue against... I'll be honest with you, dude. Like I've said it a million times, I'm not a Trump humper. If he does things that I don't agree with, I will criticize them.
Yeah.
I won't say, oh, well, he should have done that because he had to. Like, I think I don't really care for big government to begin with.
Right.
But he, to me, was the obvious option that we need right now.
Yeah.
But that being said, the people he is picking for his cabinet is like been in my head, the ideal, what someone should do as president is surround themselves with smart people who know what the fuck they're talking about when it comes to issues that, because the president doesn't know everything. He can't.
Right.
It can't be good at every single avenue. So appointing people that, and not only that, but like, aren't these like
people
the typical
been there forever.
picks you would think? Yeah, like these dinosaurs that have shown their character and what, that they're sticking to the agenda. They're these people from outside politics in a sense that like, I don't know, seem like very moderate, very middle of the road people.
Yeah, like Pete, they brought in for the Secretary of Defense. They were saying, well, we just replaced a 4-star general with, a Fox News anchor, but it's like he was in the military. He's moved throughout the ranks. And then it's like, what, let's look at what Mr. 4-star general did. Like what these are like some of the things that, it's like even this last ditch effort. Like, why are we sending missiles? Like, why do we just green light missiles to go further into Russia? Like our missiles, like, why are we doing that when the whole, like...
I don't know how you can be on the side of like, no, war is good, actually. Actually, we need to up the threat and we need to make sure that we stay involved in conflict.
Well, I think the argument is that
they need our help.
They're going to they need our help because once Russia pushes through Ukraine, they're going to keep going.
Yeah.
They're going to go to Poland.
They're Hitler, basically.
And so...
I don't feel like he's even hinted that that's his plan.
His beef seems to be he just wants his shit back. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like pro Putin or nothing, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, but like it really does feel like we crossed the line. We went further with NATO than we said we would.
Mm-hmm.
We lied to them.
Yeah.
And then we backed the people they're fighting. And then in his last, 2 months left, we're green lighting our missiles to go further into Russia. That doesn't seem... I think our only hope is if like, and like you said, like Trump may be lying to us. I mean, this could be like, we could just be getting the wool pulled over our eyes. But if he really can settle that shit, I mean, that is like at the end of the world. So it's like, we may avoid like nukes. Like to me, that's one of the bigger issues. There's a lot of smaller issues and stuff like that, but it's like, I'm kind of with whoever I feel like isn't going to get this whole motherfucker blown up. Yeah. Because none of that shit will matter. Like imagine like thinking about abortion after a nuke goes off. Like it doesn't matter.
No. Yeah.
That's all
of a sudden it's very insignificant.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, that's a path or a rabbit hole you could really go down,
Yeah. Like, the abortion thing is what we talk about.
It's the number one thing I hear people complain about. Right. And what's so crazy to me is that do they not realize that whichever candidate would have gotten in there,
they can't do nothing about it this time around.
They had no power over it.
Yeah.
But not only that aside, Trump and the vice president-elect have both publicly said that they don't believe in like no exceptions. Right. They don't even really believe that like they should make the decision. They're like, hey, we can't win this argument, so let the states argue it.
Right.
Vote on it.
Yeah, that's
a very American way of dealing with it.
Yeah, I mean, let people decide. It seems like, but it's people take extremes, and then and I think there is this thing where throughout time women it's been slower for them to get things
right.
That I think it wasn't until the 1900s at some point that they could vote. There's just shit like that,
right?
And so they have this thing, and then when I guess they say a guy can take that from them,
mm-hmm.
they say, well, I don't like that.
Right. Why should you be able to decide what we do with it?
And I understand. And we talked for probably 45 minutes last night. I was debating with a comedian from in town, Derek Keener.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, in way more intense than I thought it would be, but it was good to be, it was healthy because we argue every week. It's addicted to arguing.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it's just one of them things that it's so complex.
Yes,
it's very difficult.
It's an unwinnable argument.
Yeah, for sure.
You're not going to change the other side's opinion.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm kind of like, I have my opinion about it, but I'm not going to go boycott a fucking picket outside a abortion clinic.
Right.
I don't care enough for that. Okay, it's.
And as a dude, it's like I can't get pregnant, even though. That's a topic. Did you know that?
No.
As a guy, I don't personally think I can get pregnant. So it's like maybe I don't have the right context to even fully understand the argument too. So, but at the same time, I am a human. I'm here, and if I was in a situation, I would have contributed to said situation.
Yeah,
because it takes two to tango.
Yeah,
but that's a tough.
What do you think about the? What's the movement where they're like, we're going to become unfuckable? Basically?
Well, you shave your head and renounce men. That's probably a good way to not get laid down with.
Yeah, they're starting it out. Yeah, pretty.
But I mean, you just got to think like how many of these people are moving to Canada? How many of these people are in 2 months, like when their hair grows back?
A bunch, hopefully.
They're not. I think differently. I think if you're crazy and you have some wild shit, and even if I disagree with you, it's like, don't leave.
Right.
Stay here and fight for the shit you like.
Right.
Because that's how the process works.
I joke a lot, and I like to poke fun at them because they're easy to poke fun at. Yeah. But at the same time, they're victims. Like in my mind, they have been victimized by this agenda from. It's like what
the media.
The media has been
sure.
the mouthpiece for all of it. But they've been coerced into being. They're just frantic. Like, oh my God, my rights are going away. He's gonna fucking put us all in camps, and it's just.
Well, a lot of it has to do with I think some of the Trump goes down for his rhetoric, but that last ditch effort that they did on the other side was wild, calling him Hitler and calling it Nazi rallies and all that stuff. It's like, dude,
pulled out all the stops.
It was crazy. But then it's like, then you really do scare people.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, because there's people that are scared of Trump and they'll say it's because of his rhetoric. And so I think that in our new political landscape, the way people talk is I guess it's a new thing, but it is scary, especially to the low information consumer, because they're like, if they'll see 4 TikToks and that is their political opinion.
For sure.
And so scared.
And
I'm scared. And it makes sense because they didn't dig into it. They didn't go.
It's all fear porn, man.
Yeah.
It's like all the media is good example. So election night. I don't know if you know who Tim Pool is. He has Timcast. He's been on Rogan a few times, but he's like a libertarian-minded guy, but he has a very popular live stream podcast of sorts. They have a big panel, and they talk politics. But what I like about it is they're pretty moderate, and they just state the facts, and they kind of talk about what's going on with no with no biases, Yeah. Well, the election night, they were doing a live stream to keep up with what's going on. Well, my wife was watching the Fox News one on the TV, and I had my headphone in watching YouTube, watching his. And I was watching his, and it was real calm, and they're talking about the issues and what this would mean. And then they'll go, oh, by the way, he just took, North Carolina. Oh, by the way. And I look at the TV she's watching, and it's like a fucking football game.
Oh yeah,
and they're like flashing numbers, and they're like, and this, and if he takes this state, oh my god, what? And I was getting like anxious every time I looked at it, and I finally went, babe, turn that off. Like, let's watch this. And we put it on. It's just so much more chill, and it's so, I don't know, it's just so like more normal.
I had CNN on for fun, and then I was watching Charlie Kirk on YouTube. So I was like, yeah, I guess I've got the complete opposite shit going on here. And it was, but I did like how they broke it down. You know, now obviously he's
very conservative,
very, very conservative. But I do like him because he'll go out. I like people that can debate well too, because that's cool to watch. But But anyways, I was watching their deal, and they were breaking things down in a lot calmer way than like, but yeah, it, like watching the news on there, and I stayed up till, I was probably up to about 1 that night watching it just because it was kind of fun. I was like, I learned a bunch of.
When they announced it?
I fell asleep around 1, so no, I pretty much knew. I pretty much knew because it was seeming like none of the swing states were going that way.
Yeah,
and so I was like, yeah, T-Dog probably got it. It's crazy. Like, I personally think, like I said, they'll say it's, you know, the excuses and shit came in right after it was over, obviously. And some of them are legit. Like, she didn't have enough time. That's their party's fault. And things like that. But it just didn't feel like a good campaign. They ran on a lot of like identity politics when like, you know, she didn't speak enough about fixing like wars, or didn't speak enough about like fixing immigration. It's like, so like we have these, or even inflation really. So it's like these things like war, the border, and prices of shit. I didn't really get enough from her. And then it's like, you know, all
she
those
didn't
other
offer
things.
Any solutions really.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, fuck this guy, he's doing it wrong, he's Hitler.
Yeah.
You know, it's like.
And then the dance parties, like it, then just like, I'm never going to let no celebrity tell me how to vote, no way. So like banking on like Taylor Swift and Beyonce and all that shit.
So do you know who Charleston White is?
Yes.
He's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, Charleston White's hilarious.
Very controversial guy.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
He's hilarious. But he did an interview with, I think, Say Cheese, like right after, and he had a very interesting point. He was saying that like the people they picked to like endorse her, which they paid, by the way.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. I've seen the financial shit that came out.
They paid them to come out and say, yeah, we love her, vote for her. He was like, they didn't pick any people that were like highly intelligent, like educated, like, you know, just, I don't know, people that I think are wholesome and maybe, they were just like shake your ass.
Yeah. Megan Thee Stallion at the presidential debate as well. I mean, not debate, but presidential rally, Megan Thee Stallion or Glorilla. It's he was saying it was very low vibration that they were like, you know, targeting, you know, I guess. I mean, really. I mean, there's so many examples. Like Eminem coming out and like, it's like they paid him. Like
I haven't liked Eminem for a while though.
I think it was like over $1 million. It's like if you really are down with the movement, like
who are you winning over with them?
Yeah. Well, I mean, but even like, why are you charging so much? Well, like paying that much for Oprah or things of that nature. It's like,
well, didn't they paid the one podcast they went and did.
Call Her Daddy, they paid. Yeah.
Which Trump
they
did,
paid for a new set. They had to come to there and they built a new set for that episode. And so they paid for. Well, hey,
and they wanted.
If any president wants to come on my show and build me a new set for that, let's fucking go. But
it's your boy. I'll ask all the questions you want me to ask.
Yeah, for real. That will sell out right now.
I got a number.
Yeah, but then Rogan does. Trump does Rogan for, you know, between that and between YouTube and Twitter, you're looking at probably over 100 million views for free.
Insane.
It's crazy. But I mean, they hit, man, it's sounding like you. I at the core, I'm like a libertarian. I really am. That's where I fall at. But I think they played it better. And like I said, we're at their mercy now that they actually do what they said they was going to do. But like some of the decisions they made, I still think the podcast shit was genius. Like seeing Trump and JD Vance go on Theo. Like Theo is the type of person that is you can't just be in there and be weird. Like even when Bernie went on there, I was like, dude, this is awesome. Like
it's gonna test if you're a real person.
Yeah.
Because think about Kamala trying to deal with Theo's sense of humor. I would
love to see Tim Walz go on there. And she messed up picking him too. I think that's clear now. Would you imagine weirdo. Tim Walz on Theo Vaughn? That would have been wild. But see, they tried. That
probably would have been hilarious.
They tried to play like JD Vance was weird. They really pushed that. And I was even thinking,
straight laced.
Dude, I was thinking that JD Vance was weird because I'm hearing all this shit. And so like he goes on Theo and I'm like, okay, well, let me go. I want to see.
Well, that's a good example. It works. Dude,
it's so fucking cool. Like, I would go hang out with him. He is cool as shit.
Okay, so I told my wife, I already was going to vote for Trump, to be real with you.
Yeah.
But when I saw JD on Theo's podcast, on Trump's, but both, I watched both of them, I was like, I'm voting for this motherfucker. That's who I'm voting for. Like, that's the guy that I see as a president, well-spoken, knowledgeable, just
I would vote for JD. I would vote
very
for JD
common sense, I don't know, very normal.
He was on there cussing and shit like that. It's like,
that.
Bring back politicians that say the F word. How about that?
Yeah, I like that shit. Normal, real people.
I like the F word.
That's a huge factor in her failure as well, in my opinion, was she was not relatable. She says the thing she thinks you want to hear.
Yeah.
She's very tame, very she doesn't really say anything. She'll say 10 sentences and not one of them is like a complete thought.
It's like drunk aunt vibes.
Yeah.
She sounded like I have an aunt that's always drunk.
And like a glitching fucking Tesla robot,
And then the laughing it just don't feel genuine. I even listen, I gave her a chance. I even listened to her, the caller daddy is like, I'm never going to listen to that podcast. I listened to it because I'm curious. Yeah. I listened to her on Shay Shay. I was curious. But, I don't know. She didn't connect the dots for me. And it's just like if you got voted for abortion, you couldn't do much about abortion. The housing thing, I listened to a lot of analysts talk about that. A lot of people didn't think that the $25,000 for first home buyers, that wasn't really going to do anything or that could even work hardly. And so, and then the one thing she didn't do is separate herself from Joe Biden. So if everybody is saying this was kind of bad these past 4 years, like you can't run on turn the page and then they ask you what are you turning the page from? And do you what would you have done different? Oh, I can't think of anything. It's then you're just, people felt like they were just going to get more of what he was doing.
Yeah.
Which was, dude.
Which obviously the show's been run for him.
Oh, no doubt.
And for sure, she was going to be the same. Just a lame duck, somebody else behind her pushing the buttons and making the calls. I
was listening to that podcast today from 2020 on election day. They had an analyst guy there with Tim Dillon and Joe Rogan, and he was saying, he was like, I'm super Democrat. He said, I'm not voting for either one of them. He gave his reasons for Trump. It's the normal, most Democrats don't like Trump. That's just what it is. And then he was like, and Joe was like, well, why don't you want to vote for Biden? You got to think this is 2020. Mm-hmm. He was like, something's not right with his head. He doesn't seem competent. He doesn't seem like we're going to get to a point. They were already talking about the 25th Amendment and stuff on that podcast at the beginning on election day in 2020. There was signs that dude had dementia.
That everybody was theorizing they're going to get him in and then they're just going to say he can't do it anymore and put Kamala in.
No. Which, dude, that's another thing. She went in there and played she kept going along with the script everything was okay. I met with Joe Biden every day. He was sharp as a tack. And it's dude, he's clearly not. And as people get tired of that shit just don't make no sense to me. This man is clearly too elderly. He's clearly got
it's gaslighting.
Something. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Gaslight the fuck out of us. Well, that's why she didn't go on Rogan, dude. Let's be real. And I said it from the beginning. Everybody's like, oh, they said she might go. I was like, she'll never fucking do it.
I think he would have been fair with her, though. I think he would.
No, he would have. But here's the reason they wouldn't. She wouldn't. Because I knew they were going to want to all right, here's the questions you can ask and you can't. Rogan, he's not
right.
He's not going to fucking edit out if you say something stupid. He doesn't edit anything. And he's going to want to do at least 2 hour fucking podcast with you. Yeah. And you can't bullshit somebody for 2 fucking hours.
Yeah.
You can't. The truth will come out. They're going to ask some question that you didn't fucking anticipate and you're fucked. I
agree. I think that, Yeah, in hour 2 and 3, that's definitely when she gets a little sideways. Because you get tired too. You can only put up a front for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But her misstep was, I think she should have went and she should have just weathered the storm. Because at least...
Showed face,
yeah. And then so people were calling Rogan a diva. They were like, oh, he's what? It's like, no.
She was the fucking diva.
Yeah, at that point, it's like, yeah, y'all got... So he already did 3 hours with Trump in his studio. Why do the other candidate different? Like Joe Rogan's explanation of it is she needs to come here and do this just like he did. And that way it'll be fair.
Well, the other thing is like he wanted it like his every 2,000 podcasts he's done at this point.
Yeah, he doesn't go to other people's places.
It's you and me in a room. Nobody's beside you going, yeah, say it. No, don't. Like no moderator, no nothing. She wanted him to fly to her. So she could have somebody there. She wanted there to be the possibility for editing.
Yeah, the final edit was there.
And she only wanted to do like 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's not enough.
Like, who's the fucking diva? You know what the show is. You want to go and do the show, do the fucking show.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get to call the shots for like, it's kind of like Kanye, like, yeah, I'll do the show, but like, I'm going to build my own podcast, which they were going to do it. Did you hear about that?
Oh, you talking about originally with Rogan?
Yeah, the plan was that Kanye was like, yeah, I'll do the show, but I'm going to build like this crazy podcast studio and we're going to do the show one time in it. And Rogan's like, okay. Yeah. But it was during like COVID and I think his daughter had it or something. He couldn't go.
Yeah, Jamie was out. Jamie was out too. Yeah, they had to use Red Band.
Yeah,
Red Band to go back him up.
Old school.
Yeah, let's talk about Kill Tony. Let's talk about old Tony Hinchcliffe and his, to me, it's very funny that there's lots of funny things there. The fact that Obama is talking about was talking about Tony Hinchcliffe is almost as funny.
We're in another dimension
as any joke ever. And then, do I think it was the right place for that joke? Probably not. It was not the right place for Tony Hinchcliffe to be at.
A fucking sane person would have never told that joke there. I cannot believe that Trump's campaign was like, yeah, sure, fucking. Like, Tony if you watched any of his comedy, you should have known this shit's going to be wild.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know when he told the joke. I was a little like, not that it offended me. I was just like, oh, shit, that's not going to go over well.
Right.
But I didn't know the, I guess, the depth of the joke. I didn't know there is
actual trash garbage
problem with like them having too much.
What's funny is that he's actually like spotlighted a real problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like it backfired bad, but at the same time, like awareness for like the landfill issue in Puerto Rico is probably at the highest it's ever been.
Hey, like they say no publicity is bad publicity.
Yeah.
Well, that put him on a huge stage. And like, I guess they're already in the talks or they're probably already working on doing a Netflix special of some sort. I don't know if they're just going to kind of like Rogan did a live through, I bet that's what it's going to be. They'll do a live Kill Tony on Netflix, which is huge. That's another one, dude, that I used to watch that when I think you could only watch it on Ustream.
Okay, or Tony, Vimeo. The original?
Yeah, and dude, it was like low quality, like it was like horrible sound quality, and they had no band. It was like all that shit has like developed, and it's really cool to see. And now I talk to people that aren't even like a part of the Death Squad, and that's like the OG Rogan shit. Death Squad. And they have no idea about any of that, but they're like, yeah, I like Kill Tony. I'm like, fuck, all right, yeah.
I've only been listening to it for like 2 years now. Probably 2 years pretty consistently. Like I watched...
Well, it's gotten good.
Yeah, I've watched it. I was watching it before I left, but it's good because I can kind of put it on the background too, and I can kind of just like zone in when I want to listen to it. And then
how is YouTube allowed that to go on? Like, because they say some wild shit.
But I mean, it's okay. So a lot of like...
I guess it's not monetized, so...
Well, there's got to be. They're making money off that.
Well, I know he has sponsors, but I wonder...
Yeah. But it's got to... Surely he's monetized.
Do you see ads during that? I can't even...
Yeah, oh yeah, there's definitely ads during that. Yeah,
I just know that like if you say certain shit, like they'll pull your monetization.
Yeah. It may just be straight from sponsors, but I mean, it's the #1 podcast, so I mean, the sponsors are probably giving him hella money.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
#1 live podcast, at least. It's such a crazy idea, but I feel like the reason why that show worked and why it blew up when it blew up is it's a response. It's a response to over censorship.
100%.
A lot of times they say wild shit. I feel like it's just out of spite for just...
Oh, I can't say this?
Yeah. And people like Tony, like now there's this class of comedian that likes getting canceled. So like this Puerto Rico shit, or Tony, he's probably loving this shit.
Yeah.
because they realized something like the Shane Gillises that bounced back from it. Tony's already been canceled.
I'm going to see him, by the way.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Dude, the tickets went fucking crazy. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail you.
Oh, no. I love
I'm
Shane
so excited
Gillis.
about that shit.
Yeah, I'm huge. I watched
sold out American Airlines Center in Dallas.
Really?
Like 20,000 seats.
I love Shane. I listen to Matt and Shane religiously. I listen to that every week. I don't ever miss Matt and Shane.
I like to listen to whoever puts the clips together of like Shane ranting about like the Comanche Indians from like every podcast they've ever done and talks about them.
Yeah, no, he's very smart. He knows a lot of the history and shit. But the thing about Matt and Shane's is you show up for Shane, but like, bro, Matt is a gem.
Matt's the bro.
Matt is so fucking cool. Matt is so funny. Like, they were talking, they were on the next day after Tony Hinchcliffe's deal, after the deal, and they were joking around like how it was going to start World War III, and like I think Matt said he's like the missiles are going to be shooting this way, and he's just going to be like fucking Puerto Rico, an island of garbage, and then he blow away. But no, they
incredible or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely fucking incredible. Which is like some of the episodes of Kill Tony, like they're not good. Like some of it's like it is that wild nature of the show that makes some episodes incredible or absolutely fucking incredible, and then like some of them are just like this kind of mid. But like because you just never know. Like sometimes.
Let's nerd out on Kill Tony then, if you like that show, because me and my cousin have this ongoing dialogue about the regulars on the show and which ones we like and which ones. We're like, what the
Bro, fuck Drew Nickens. He's not funny.
Oh my God. The fucking human Labrador or whatever that dude is.
I don't like Drew Nickens. I'm still on the fence about Casey Rocket.
Oh, me too. I don't get it.
Ari Maddie is the funniest. Ari Maddie is the funniest regular maybe ever.
100%.
Cam is hit and miss, but it's Cam, so he can just kind of do his normal shit on stage.
So we talk about Cam, where like he has great stage presence.
Yeah.
I've not seen his routine comedy. Maybe it's better. But consistently, I'm let down by his comedy where I don't laugh. Like he has funny premises.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe there's something there, but like, just like Casey Rocket, I never laugh. Never.
Casey's a lot of, like, it's too much action.
To me, he's like Theo Vaughn on crack.
Yeah.
You know, he has that random like, oh, I'm going to do something wacky. Yeah. But like, it's all out of context. So it's like, where did it?
He's just like, he slid out the way in a chair. Oh, just dodged a drone strike. It's like, what are you talking about, bro?
Yeah, why is that funny? Like,
I don't know. It is. No,
I don't get the Casey Rocket thing, but I will say I've seen him on podcasts. He's a very smart guy.
Oh yeah, he was on Matt and Shane's.
Oh really?
Yeah. That was a good one.
He's a smart guy.
Who else do I know? Like Hans Kim's hit and miss.
Yep.
Dude, they go a little overboard with the special people sometimes. Aaron Belial, they bring the guy on that does the phone deal. It just seems like it's awkward half the time because they're waiting on him to type something new in there. I don't like that.
Oh, which episode?
David Lucas is like, now he's not on there very much, you know, but like his minute was never all that great. It was just like, all right, now roast Tony. That's what we're here for. And
those are hit or miss. Like, those are hit or miss. Dude, it sounds like a fucking high school cafeteria. They're like just throwing shit at the wall, and some of them are funny.
Like the football bus, like on the way to a football game in high school. Like just, we're just trying to roast, but
But what about the, I don't think maybe he's a golden ticket. The young, like 18-year-old Jewish kid that is like, I mean, he looks like a comedian from the 90s. He is just like the most Jewish guy ever. He's got like glasses. He's real nerd. I think he's like on the spectrum, but like he is hilarious, dude. Like just naturally, his interviews are fucking gold. Like he has the funniest responses.
I guess I don't know who you're talking about.
He's a like an up and coming open micer in LA. But like when he's in Austin, he can be on the show whenever he wants.
I would recognize him if I saw his face.
He's not on there he's probably only been on the show like 3 times now, but he recently got the golden ticket or whatever.
Yeah, some of them they bring him back on. It's like, stop bringing Drew Nickens back on. This shit's not funny.
Yeah, leave that guy.
Give us Ari Maddie and Cam and like how do you feel about William Montgomery? Because like I'm always on the fence about it. That shit's hit and miss too.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you're going to do a new minute every week, a comedy, like you're going to miss.
Yeah, no, that is very difficult. I think people, like common fans that don't really know a lot about comedy would think that, you know, it's just a minute. But like, dude, man, it's live. There's millions of people watching you.
And you know it's going to go bad if you do bad. Like if
For
people don't like it, like Tony's gonna let you know.
Yeah.
Like not that you don't know already, but they're gonna let you know.
Yeah, it's kind of like if I can't imagine going on there and not feeling confident in your set.
Oof.
Like these guys are like, oh, I've never even thought about doing comedy. I just stumbled up here and like,
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Out of there.
He gets mad at people that sign up that haven't done it if they're not really trying.
Oh yeah, he'll ban them.
Ban them, yeah. Won't let them sign up.
Dude, do you ever see Tony get like pissed and you feel like he really shouldn't have? Like to the level,
yeah.
Dude, sometimes he loses his shit on people, and I'm like, God damn, dude. Like,
yeah,
he just picks a motherfucker and he's like, yeah, you're banned for life. Don't even let him back in the mothership.
Yeah, that's I don't know, but he gets a vibe. He trusts his gut, I guess. I think, I don't know, shows like Kill Tony, shit like, but see, like, here's another thought that a lot of people don't think about is like, there wouldn't be a Kill Tony if there wasn't like Skankfest or like Legion of Skanks.
Yeah.
They opened the door for a while.
For sure.
They were what was their title was
comedy.
They were the number one like most vilest comedy. They had some kind of tag or whatever, like dirtiest.
Yeah, they earned that shit.
Yeah.
I love Dave Smith, dude.
Dave Smith is awesome. He's so smart.
I watch his podcast. So he does them like daily.
Part of the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just so smart, and like it's very informative to hear him talk about politics because I feel like he can explain it to the lay.
Yeah, and he doesn't like both sides.
Yeah.
So it's not really leaning either way.
Very libertarian.
Yeah, very super libertarian.
Yeah, I definitely identify more as a libertarian than anything.
Definitely.
You know, I'm just because I don't give a fuck. Like as long as you're not hurting people or me, and it's not going to affect me or my family, whatever, dude. Like, chop off your dick. I don't care at all.
But leave the fucking kids alone.
Yeah, but don't fucking teach my kid that they also should chop their dick off. Like that's obviously weird.
I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I think the pendulum may swing against those folks, and it could. The problem is we tend to overcorrect. So like, people may turn into the people like that some of these groups
are scared of.
Yeah, they will do it. They'll turn into like actual like transphobic shit will happen because the pendulum will swing the other way, and that's just going to happen, I think. And like because but that, like you said earlier, once you start like, okay, so we're out here canceling people, right, for things like dead naming and things of that nature. So it's like, okay, if you have that power in the moment, you may not have that power later.
Yeah.
So you do kind of open the door for it to swing back the other way. Mm-hmm. All this shit's a pendulum. All this shit, and that's even our two-party system is even meant to be like, no, the Democrats kind of sucked these last 4 years. This is a whole almost different system.
That's what's fucked them. You know, it's like they've become like completely unrelatable to your normal, like middle American person. You know, you're like the working class. Like we can't relate to that. Like we have fucking jobs. We like work hard. We raise our families, and we don't have time to fucking worry about all the woke bullshit. Like, you know, I don't care about it. Do what you do. But I really feel like you're fucking intruding on me now. Like you're telling me, which is totalitarian, by the way, which you claim.
That's kind of authoritarian also. Like that is the same shit that.
Yeah.
Like, cause even like free speech, like even saying like, cause even Kamala Harris, she said it, you know, I think there should be, you know, like these rules and stuff on free speech, and like, and the hate speech doesn't qualify for free speech. It's like, dude, that's not what that is. Free speech is that you can say like when you think about some like the Nazi Party itself, they controlled the speech. That's how they did it. So you're saying that the way to get away from that type of energy is to do what they did?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. They were bad. She was bad about like saying shit about him that they were doing. That's like shit that's like fourth graders do that shit.
That's like the fucking, the whole playbook. I feel like from the media and shit. Like they like, what do they call that? Where you're like, is it not foreshadowing, but it's like where basically you accuse your accuser
of what you're doing.
What you're
it's like a misdirection.
Yeah,
it's like a smoke screen. Like, look at that. They're doing that shit over there. And you kind of slip out the back. Mm-hmm. What do you think about media, man? What do you think about, you know, legacy media? Like, did this show, like, because I was listening earlier, I was listening to, Rogan was talking about, like, they were going through CNN's numbers and MSNBC's numbers and like, that type of media is on like a downswing. Did they get, do you think they got exposed because of?
I think it might have been the nail in the coffin, honestly. Like, I mean, look I mean, just look at what we talked about earlier with the election and that's what I do love. That it seems like Trump, at least somebody around him, has their ear to the ground and is like, hey, like, this is where all the fucking views are. This is what people are actually consuming. Yeah. Let's get on there. Like, and it's super accessible. You know, they're not, most podcasts aren't like biased to like, oh, we'll only have on.
Yeah, most people are just one big guest.
Yeah.
Wait, who's a bigger guest than Donald Trump? Who the hell is not, who doesn't want, but besides, like, I understand Rogan at a point having so much pull and so much sway that he actually doesn't need Trump. Like, he could go without interviewing Trump. Yeah. That shit would be fine, but he's the number one podcaster in the world. He's been doing it longer than everybody. He has other guests. He can pull from anybody. Anybody would go on Joe Rogan down there. Yeah. But it's like anybody else.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is turning down Donald Trump? Like, yeah. It was like Flagrant caught a bunch of heat for having Donald Trump in there, and I loved that interview. Did you see Donald Trump on Flagrant?
Yeah, it was very, very.
It felt real.
Mm-hmm. Theo's did too. This is what I was going to say earlier, is I wasn't that like, I was a little disappointed by Trump's interview with Rogan. I feel like he really kind of just stayed on track with all the stuff he normally says. But yeah, we beat ISIS in a record amount of time. Like, some of it was cool, but he didn't let loose like he did. I think maybe Trump knew how big of a deal it was. He was sitting there.
Yeah,
you know,
so he just played it safer.
Yeah, played it a little safe. But not only that, he just didn't like be himself. Like, on Theo, like, I was really impressed with some of the questions that Theo asked because they hit home with stuff that I'm concerned about. Yeah. Like with addiction and like, what are you going to do about this opiate epidemic? And Trump said shit that you have never heard a politician say. Like, Theo asked him, you know, they were talking about pharmaceutical companies and like, why do they have such a, you know, tight grip on everything? Why do they control everything? And he was like, well, you know, it's like a lot of it's to do with lobbyists and stuff. And
yeah, they pay
Theo's
for everything.
Like, why do we allow that to happen? He's like, well, that's a good question. Like, well, I don't think, he was basically saying, I think that there should be laws in place to where you can't be a lobbyist and then go work for the companies afterwards. That you were just, which he's already announced he's going to be doing that, like putting things in place to keep that from happening.
That's like knowing you're going to have a job after government. Like, you take money so you work for the government, you take money from lobbyists, you do their bidding. Once you get out of government, you go work for that company. They basically solidify your future after that. So why wouldn't you do their bidding?
Yeah. Dude, it's the root of everything.
Oh, yeah. These
it's where all the corruption comes from.
No doubt.
And he was talking about putting a limit on like Congress people. Like, of course.
Yeah, term limits. They need term limits for sure. Yeah, like, I don't understand it. I don't understand why we get Nancy Pelosi every year. I don't understand that shit. That shit doesn't make no sense to me. But anyways, but yeah, I think like I really liked how he was on Flagrant, and those guys even lean left, most of them. But I like how Andrew Schultz acted. I liked how his crew acted, and it showed a really funny side of them. And then did you see what happened to Andrew Schultz right after? He had he had a spot lined up for his special. This is Andrew Schultz. This is like, Flagrant is one of the biggest podcasts in the world. Like, so then there's like, okay, that next day they said that venue, he couldn't use that venue anymore. It wasn't in their best interest to keep doing business with him. It's like, that seems dumb because like what happened and when he
booked a bigger fucking venue.
What happened is he got a bigger venue, a better venue, and sold out.
Well, canceling doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work no more.
Yeah.
The thing about, like, so why this other source of media is so important is because if mainstream media holds all the power, if they decide, fuck you, you're done. But it's like, if the mainstream media now, if they say fuck you, but the whole other side of the internet where it's regular people getting their information from like, you know, what it's not
people that at least it seems like you can trust.
Right. And they say, no, we're not with that.
Yeah.
Then you're only like half canceled at that point. And then it's like, at this point,
dude,
who gives a fuck if CNN don't like you? Who gives a fuck if Fox News don't like you?
To that point. Like, I think we've already crossed the threshold. Like, I don't think anyone actually gives a fuck. Yeah. There's like a select few, like, right on.
Yeah, that's probably not good, but oh well. Gunshots in the distance.
Doors locked, we're good.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah. This is not the best neighborhood, but at least it's dark over here. They'll never know, fam.
No. Yeah, they ain't even gonna know we're here. Shit. What was I saying?
Media.
It's done for. It's done for. Like to me, the format sucks. It's outdated.
Yes.
Just like I was talking about with like the way they covered the election, like the way people fucking talk, the like limited, like, okay, you got 30 seconds and go. Like,
say your piece.
This isn't real life. No. Like this is not informative at all. So
we don't
it's all
share.
theater.
If me and you had to share our opinions with each other and they set us down, we have a 5-minute segment. We go back to back 30 seconds. And me and you could go back to back for 30 seconds. What type of understanding would we have? Would it be anything like the 2-hour conversation, or we're probably already another hour in, 3 hours now?
You would be looking for the soundbite to be sensational.
Yep.
You'd be like, well, actually, Joe, you're wrong because, it'd just be like bullshit.
Yeah.
There would be no real thoughts actually being exchanged.
Yeah, I think conversation is an awesome way to learn. It's a new way to learn because we didn't used to learn from conversation. We used to learn like a lot of you would learn from like a professor giving a lecture, a teacher giving a lecture, a book, you know what I'm saying, or something of that nature.
Kind of limited.
Yeah, now we have people talking about something. So like these guys, like on my show, this was one of my favorite episodes I ever did. I had a historian on here, the lead professor at A&M.
Oh, sweet.
Craig Nakashian, super awesome dude, studies in the Middle Ages.
And that would be interesting.
Bro, if I went to one of his lectures, I'm sure I would learn. Mm-hmm. But like, dude, I just talking to this guy, I learned so much shit. And I got to ask the out-of-the-box questions that I can't ask in a classroom. Like, how accurate do you think Game of Thrones is? Like that type of shit. And then we talk like...
Shit you want to know.
Yeah, they're talking like Game of Thrones accuracy, like to the actual Middle Ages or like Lord of the Rings. And then like, this is just shit like that. That's not stuff you get to ask in the classroom. Like, and then like, but conversation is a way to learn. And we've watched debates forever, but like now these feel different than a debate. It feels like learning something. Like, because you can learn from a debate.
I do them like, my wife jokes that like I just like always like watching something boring or something because to her it's like not like drama or it's not like this acted out thing, and I'm like, that's all fake bullshit. I get nothing from that. Like, now hear me out. We have like a few like the Penguin. Like we'll get into a show and we'll watch it together. But other than that, if I'm alone, I'm fucking watching podcasts. I'm watching something like educational, whether it be about like ancient civilizations, which. I don't know if you watched Jimmy Corsetti on Rogan today.
Yeah, I listened to it today. Did you listen to it today?
I haven't finished it yet, but it's fucking great.
Yeah, I listened to
it. I knew it would be that. I love when they get into those discussions.
They had a lot of good points today. I know. I still think Atlantis isn't real.
I don't know where I stand on that. I haven't seen anything convincing.
But for anybody that's tapped in on the Dibble, Dibble Graham Hancock, I guess beef now. Did you listen to the whole debate? Didn't you?
That was them.
Oh yeah. Oh damn, they're handling that shit outside. That was an ancient civilization with modern technology.
Them seeds could be reaped.
So he lied about. So both of them said that they lied.
Right.
So Flint, did you watch him on Danny Jones?
Yes, I didn't watch all of it, but yeah.
Yeah, so he went on Danny Jones and was saying...
Went in on Atlantis and shit,
yeah,
right?
Atlantis is fake and all this shit. And then he went into how he feels like Graham was lying. But then Graham went back to Rogan and was like, Flint was lying.
Yeah.
And then today they brought in the other guy that pretty much debunked, not debunked, but debunked some of the things.
Like re-debunked some of the shit.
Yeah, some of the shit.
Some of his main points where he's like, no, see, you're wrong because this can't happen. And he's like...
For the layperson that doesn't know what we're talking about, it's just... you get sucked into this ancient civilization like argument. Like, was there civilizations further back than what
we know?
Most archaeologists would admit. And then, so the beef is that it seems like archaeology is kind of set in like this way.
Dogmatic.
Yeah.
Stick to the script. This is what we know, and there's nothing outside of that.
They still could be right.
For sure.
And a lot of times when them guys come on there, they sound
smart
very
as fuck.
Good points.
Way smarter than me.
But the people like Graham Hancock, the people that get labeled like pseudo archaeology and all this shit, they also have cool points. And why not think about it in a way? Like, why with like Graham's whole argument, his main whole argument is that there's no way to conclusively say that this couldn't be possible. When archaeology will just say, this is what we believe, this is what we've been teaching, this is how it was. And it's like...
Well, he uses a lot of examples, like overwhelming evidence of like, well, if that's true, then why the fuck? Like today, I was listening to talk about Baalbek.
Yeah, Baalbek.
In Lebanon. And there's 3 stones that weigh 2 million pounds.
It was
1,200 tons.
Tons, yeah.
14 foot thick, 36 foot long, and they're 30 feet off the ground.
Yeah, how'd they get them up?
And they moved them 170 fucking miles.
Over a mountain.
That's like going to Dallas.
Yeah, they said over a mountain.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I was going to say. They didn't have no paved fucking roads. Yeah, so they
couldn't take the paved road because they said it would crush the road.
Now, the main
how are they lifting
straw
this
man
shit?
argument is like, oh, so you think aliens did it? Like, bitch, no, I didn't say that. Like, I'm saying that we have no idea how they did it.
Yeah.
But I damn sure.
Isn't that wild, though, that we don't know how they did it?
Well, and like they were getting in today, like, bro, you ain't moving that with tree logs. Like, do you have any idea?
But even that's this way.
Exactly.
They still
hit a fucking rock, you're fucked. Like, you're stuck.
How do you get it up? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like the Pyramid of Giza. How did they get the stones up? It does not.
I didn't know that he mentioned the biggest stone in the King's Chamber was 80 tons. And I forget how many feet off the ground it is, but they moved it 500 miles from the quarry. 500 fucking miles, dude.
Yeah, that's how. I don't understand. Like, I don't know. In what world can you as archaeologists look at this shit and be like, this is a tomb. They built it in this time period. Exactly.
They had a hammer and a chisel. What's so hard to understand?
Yeah, it's like, dude, these are humongous stones. Well, and dude, how did they get them up?
What's really fucking compelling is like when you see, so like all the ancient civilization people that like believe there was another civilization before what we understand to be the oldest civilization.
Right.
It's basically push back the date. Like, no, actually people fucking were pretty advanced a long, long time ago. Is you see these like really impressive sites where like there's these insane architecture, like these huge heavy stones that are fucking like sanded perfectly, that are like you couldn't fit a fucking piece of paper between them. They're like perfectly lined up. And then on top of it are like more crude structures, like shit that we know that the Romans were building.
Yeah, like they
not
built
as
on
pretty.
top. So you're saying that they just built on top of shit.
Yeah, they found it and they were like, oh, let's add on to this shit. It'd be like your kids playing in the woods and the fucking kids, 5 years older than you, left their fucking fort out there. And you're like, oh shit, let's fucking hang this on it.
Let's build into it.
Yeah. It's like they found it the way it was. But it also makes sense why a lot of that shit is just, this is kind of off the topic, but I saw this documentary and it was showing what they think like Baalbek and some of those places look like when they were complete, and they weren't like dismantled. And it showed like these huge stone walls like you normally see, but we see them they're just open. And I always thought like, but why the fuck don't they have roofs? No. Well, they were wooden roofs. And I was like, oh, but when you see it, visualize it. Yeah. But I've always wondered, I've been like, these huge walls is just a wide open fucking room.
To have like structures you can't have like a big monolithic ceiling. Well, I mean, they did it at the pyramids, but you have to have like pillars and stuff to spread the weight and shit. Yeah.
But the way they like depict them were beautiful. Not like just like a board laid across, but like these crazy.
I think me and you have probably talked about this before, but like Göbekli Tepe and how old that is. And it's just like, it just doesn't seem like the time periods line up. Like, how could these people that were supposedly at this stage build something like Göbekli Tepe? And if you're not tapped into like what that is, go look up Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. It's crazy. And I think the date on it is somewhere, I think they push it back to like 11,000 BC, which is like, that's like 13,000 years ago, or maybe 11,000 years ago. So it would be 9,000 BC, somewhere in that area.
It like predated what they believed to be civilization. And that's the Dibble guy's whole thing is like, no, yeah, it is a structure, but it wasn't a civilization. And it's like, this shit is like, there's 200 pillars out there.
Yeah, and they think that it goes down deep, like they've LiDAR'd into the ground, and like
it looks like it was more filled in.
I was listening today on that podcast. They've only Göbekli Tepe is only 5% excavated. And now they've turned it into a big tourist attraction. There's money flowing into it. They said it'd be another 150 years before they excavate it.
So that's the other thing, dude, is like, there's this on one side, it's like, these people are conspiracy theorists and all this, but then there's all like these weird things that go along with these sites where it's like, well, why are y'all ceasing to fucking excavate it? Why are y'all like, we're not going to excavate anything for 150 years? Like, okay, that's sketch. Like,
which I think that's the Turkish government is in charge of that, from my understanding. But I always think, like, where's the money coming from in archaeology? Like,
me too. Like, yeah, because think about what kind of money it takes to like send people over there and do all that shit. Like, who's which I guess there's
Which I wonder how many artifacts got sold, stuff that may change our whole entire.
I was thinking about that today.
Like process.
I was like, think about when we found the pyramids, in Giza. Mm-hmm. How many fucking badass artifacts were just like taken out of there before we ever?
Yeah,
dude. Like, okay, if that was like what do they say? 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago,
4,500.
That they were built.
They say the Great Pyramid, the Giza specifically, is somewhere around 4,500 years ago.
So imagine what things like had just been disappeared from there before we got there, or what are still out there. I think about that just roaming like around the woods here, like what's under our feet.
Yeah, there's no telling. Yeah,
I mean, because they think there were people. I don't know if there's pre-Clovis. I think there's pre-Clovis.
Yeah, there's possibly. Yeah,
which is like 20,000 years ago. Yeah, what the fuck?
You got to think, every time we've ever come across the ocean, there was always people here. So, I mean, that's at least something to think about. Like, every single person, you think of Cortez, you think of Columbus, you think of the Mayflower, you think of even the Vikings when they came down and they were met with Indians when they met. It's like every time someone came here that we know of, our little histories of at least coming across the ocean, it's been somebody here already.
Well, genetic testing has like revealed that some of the remains they found I think in North America, maybe South America, that they don't connect with what we understand to be like the people that came through the Bering Strait. They don't have that Eastern or like Asian genetics. It has like...
they were traveling the ocean first? I
want to say like Turkish area.
They were traveling the ocean earlier than we thought or something?
Well, maybe they were like...
And it'd take a hell of a ship back in that time to get across the ocean, but...
But if they were building fucking Lebanon, Baalbek, surely they had a boat.
Yeah.
They could move fucking
stones over a mountain. Yeah,
500
giant
miles. Yeah, surely they had a boat.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like the pyramid discussion of like why there's pyramids all over the world, and then some people say, well, that's just the best. That just seems to be the simplest way to build a strong structure. You start fat at the bottom and it gets small at top.
Right.
Which that kind of sort of makes sense, but it's like it's also kind of weird that they're all over the place. And then but on the America side, a lot of like the mounds and stuff, that's all like, I don't know, man. There's no telling. There really is no telling. And so like when I had the historian on, I had him on, and he was explaining about like how a historian or even archaeologist gets to what they actually think happened is they find something, some document, some piece of paper or an artifact or something, and then they just guess.
Speculate.
They just speculate. Yeah, it's all a guess. It's just like, if you go to one village and one village had a bunch of records and you can fact check these records off each other from different sources. Okay, it's a little easier to tell what happened in 1100 if the town had multiple news sources for that. But if you go to, he was talking about this one like village, it only had for the whole year, once a year, they wrote down like, this was a good year. It was hot this year or shit like that. It's like, okay, that's all you can take from that. And then was he even telling the truth?
Yeah.
And so like every archaeologist, every historian, they're just finding these things and they're having to put together like what they're finding and then guess. Mm-hmm. You can't. And that's why I feel like Graham Hancock has a good point. How can y'all say y'all have got this shit fucking mapped out when all you can do, especially when shit's 10,000, 11,000 years old, all you can do is just put little clues together and guess.
Well, and a lot of their argument is like, well, we haven't found anything that indicates that. It's like, but you haven't not either. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's the Sahara Desert. The
absence of evidence isn't the evidence of
the Sahara Desert, the Amazon, there's these big giant places that for good reason, like the Sahara is very tough to be in. You can't just be out there excavating shit in the middle of the desert. It's too hard.
Peru really interests me, dude.
But the Amazon, you don't want to fuck Amazon up. Like we need the Amazon. So like you can't just be out there digging shit up.
They find some interesting ancient shit. And,
the LiDAR is showing that there's structures all underneath the Amazon jungle.
Have you ever watched the Gaia streaming service? It's on Amazon Prime, but it's like this. If you're in ancient civilizations and shit, you should check it out because they have a show called Ancient Civilizations, but it has that like Ancient Aliens vibe. I think they even have the same like narrator, but instead of getting into like aliens create everything, they just like tell all the crazy things that happen. Like, well, how did this happen? And like they speculate a little bit, but it gets like, I guess, in the weeds to where it's not what a scholar would tell you.
Mainstream archaeology.
Yeah. It's very much in line with like Graham Hancock and a lot of that line of thinking. Right. And actually, he's on the first season. He is one of the people they have on ask questions. But they found there's like a whole show on there dedicated to the Nazca mummies.
The Nazca mummies.
Look that shit up.
Is that the Peru stuff you're talking about?
Yes. Nazca is like, it's either in Peru, it's right beside Peru.
That's South America.
Yes.
Yeah,
South
that's
America.
on this side of the world. So that's...
Yeah, up in whatever those mountains are called. But yeah, it's the Amazon.
The mountains that are in the South America, the big ones. Okay, yeah. Is that the Andes? Don't give me a line. I don't want to. Right. Don't.
I'll fuck it up. Anyways, the Nazca mummies. So you remember maybe a year ago when the shit went viral with these little mummy alien looking things?
Yeah, the little one. Yeah, they said it was
the little ones. Yeah. So those were part of it. So they found these supposedly in a cave in Nazca, and they found 3 of them, I believe. 2 of the little funny looking ones that are like this tall.
Yeah.
And they look like your typical alien. And they found a big one that is fucking insane looking. It has this elongated head like you would see in like an Egyptian statue.
Yeah.
It has long 3 fingers and long 3 toes. And it's like mummified like this, like it's sitting in the fetal position. And the whole show is like them going to like geneticists and like x-ray, what is it called, specialists. And they're examining like the remains. And now look, this could all be fucking fake. I don't know. But the fucking x-ray lady, whatever the radiologist, is like, no, this is all like humanoid-like, but like basically confirmed, like, no, this is a real organic. They tested the genetic or like the DNA. It's real like genetics. Like some of the DNA matched ours, but most of it didn't. It was like an unknown source, was of no animal that we have on record.
Anunnaki.
I'm just saying, what's weird is it had this elongated head like we've seen depicted a lot, you know? And, but if you like Google it, you can pull up a few things, but it's very like absent of any information. Because I've looked into like, is there any more like information on this?
Yeah,
like, has there been any
Graham
new...
Hancock talk about that. So that's
I know.
strange,
I look into it. It's very interesting. It's very, it's disturbing to say the least. But if it's real, like, and the little ones that they found had little eggs inside of them.
That's
like
wild.
They were.
That's crazy. Yeah,
they're wild looking.
Yeah, man, the alien thing is crazy. I don't know. I just find it hard to believe that all this shit is out there and it's just us.
Oh yeah, dude. What? We ain't even touched on that.
Yeah. Oh, like
they're
aliens?
like saying they're like underwater. And shit
I read that.
Dude, what do you think? You think this shit's real?
They haven't like. They won't say that they found like life or bodies and stuff.
Fucking bullshit. They say, beating around the bush. And
they say that they found crafts, which there's all like the Rogan thing. He always says is like, okay, this could be our shit though. Like if let's say we found some technology that the public doesn't know about, and it could be ours, we would lie about it, right? We would have to because we wouldn't want Russia to know or China to know that we have like this AI fucking thing that defies physics.
Know? They got spy balloons. They got spies. They got all kinds. Like you think they ain't got some shit like that?
Yeah, but I mean, just because you know they're watching, that doesn't mean you don't hide it though. Like, right. And then like I don't need to know.
But to this extent, you're like lying to the fucking public openly. So here's my thing. One of 2 things are happening.
On the water?
Here's one of 2 things are happening, and both are fucking equally as insane. Either the government is just like doing this dog and pony show to lie to us, to be like, oh yeah, we found some non-human fucking crafts and shit. And like, yeah, they've killed people and we got all this evidence and shit, but we can't tell you too much. And they're lying to us for what purpose? Like, to what end?
Yeah.
Which is like unprecedented. Or they really did find fucking non-human fucking crafts.
Yeah.
Like, either way, I feel like
it's equally
people
crazy.
aren't really freaking out enough. It's like, but it's like, people don't know what to do.
There's an argument when it comes to alien stuff, and people say, like, does it affect my day to day? Is it going to change gas? Like me getting gas? Is it going to? Am I going to go to work?
We're so jaded as Americans.
Yeah. Do I still have to go to work today?
Is it going to cost the same to go to work tomorrow?
Yeah. But I mean, dude, could there be aliens under the ocean? Sure. Could there not be aliens under the ocean? Sure.
I don't know why, but I'm not buying it.
You don't think they're under the ocean?
I want more fucking evidence. I'm a very objective thinker. I'm not just going to like be like, well, they said they're fucking real.
Yeah, I mean, they could just be lying.
Is every video I've ever seen like highly disappointing? Like, I've never seen one.
Yeah,
where
there's
I'm
never been like overwhelming evidence for you. Just
like with Bigfoot. Like, I've heard some pretty convincing stories. Not once have I seen one thing where I'm like, damn, that might be Bigfoot.
No. And then, I don't know, with like AI and shit now, everything's going to be questioned. Like, there could be a picture perfect Bigfoot scene. You could see a video of it now, and like it could be 100% real. And there's going to be a big majority of people are like, bro, that shit's it's AI. They just made that shit.
Dude, it's kind of similar to the whole argument with Flint Dibble and archaeologists. Jesus, I can't come up with the word. Archaeologists, kind of similar to that, where like the specialists with the aliens thing, it's like, well, military people that can read sonar, like, we know what we're looking at. So basically like, well, look, we're smarter than you. I assure you what you're looking at is really impressive.
Yeah.
And it's like, but to us, it's just a blur on a fucking shitty fucking screen. And you're like, okay.
From a government
I swear to God, it's
that
really
lies to us.
Yeah, exactly.
That has got caught lying
trust
to
me.
us. Yeah.
What you're seeing is incredible. Okay. Same as an archaeologist, like, no, I'm telling you.
The CIA telling us stuff like, we should definitely believe that. Like, no.
Yeah, we haven't done psychic driving on unassuming fucking citizens.
Yeah, that's just crazy. But on the alien front, the people like, okay, so someone was talking about like the Greys the other day. I listened to, it was a guy came on Danny Jones' podcast and he was talking about aliens and shit and talking about how if we progressed and evolved to a point like that, saying that the gray aliens are us in the future.
And they're coming back to warn us.
To stop fucking the planet up or some shit, crazy shit like that. Yeah. So like they get real lazy, so their head gets bigger. They don't need as much food because they can get like the nutrients. So like their mouth gets smaller. Like
are
their
they
jaws.
Just really bad at saying hi or what?
Maybe they know better than to like
give us the fucking message, bitch.
Well, they made. That's the thing. Like
they want to freak us out. They're gonna mess up the timeline if they.
Let's be real. They could. Our government could be in contact with aliens and just fucking lying to us. Yeah,
like the whole thing with which president? The one that made that like really famous speech about the.
You talking about Eisenhower?
Yes,
about the military-industrial complex.
Where they went and met with them in Antarctica and like they signed a treaty with the aliens and shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold on it, but why not? Some of these things, like, why not? Like,
we're legit questioning these things as they might be reality. That's where we're at in 2024, about to be 2025.
But why not? Why couldn't there be aliens? Why couldn't our government already have talked to them? Why we just because they told us not to worry about shit like that?
I just can't believe we're at this fucking point that we're like, because when I was a kid, it was like something you saw on History Channel every now and then, like alien. It'd be those spooky like narrators, and it's like in a field in fucking England in 1984, a man saw a craft, and as a child you're like, oh, this will be fucking awesome. But in the back of your head, you're like,
that dude's a kook.
This shit probably ain't real.
Yeah. Okay, so have you seen Resident Alien?
No.
On Netflix?
No. What is that?
Very good. It's so this alien comes. It's a comedy. Mm. The guy that writes for Family Guy's involved in it.
The
Seth
guy, MacFarlane?
Yeah, and the guy that writes, the guy that was, I don't know if you ever watched Star Trek, but Tom Paris from Star Trek's the executive producer of that. And this guy, the main character, Alan Tudyk or something, you'd know him. You would recognize him. Anyway, he comes and he's an alien. and basically he kills the guy and the cat. The guy's a doctor and he kills him and takes his body. And now this is a small town called Patience in Colorado. And so like now he tries to take over that guy's life and he ends up like into the system, but he needs to fix his ship so he can, because he's there to destroy the earth, but like he needs his ship to get that. But then he like, he gets too close to the humans and he gets too human-like after a while. But like, it's a really good show. Dude, where was the point of this? I had a point to this, but then I got to talk about the show.
It's like shape-shifting aliens.
Yeah, this dude is, but I mean, he's real awkward and stuff, but they just think he's like just weird as shit.
You've heard like Tucker Carlson's theory on
angels and demons. He thinks it's like a spiritual thing.
Right.
Which, I mean, that's not even all that wild. I mean, really, what is wild? What is wild?
It's really not that wild. I mean, especially like if you, once again, with ancient civilizations, you see all the reports that the things they documented claiming like, oh yeah, and then this God created this and this was his people. Like, and then that like correlates with all the Greek mythology stuff and like all over the world, really.
No.
Like they've been saying like, yeah, these things came down from another place and did this. And we're like, bullshit. And then we're like, oh, they might have alien spacecrafts in the ocean. Like,
what about fucking 15 flood stories? I mean, probably flooded.
Yeah, I think the bitch flooded.
But I don't know. Do I think Noah was on an ark with two of each animal? No, probably not.
Have you heard I was going to ask you earlier. I haven't ever looked into it and I need to. I just bitch about it a lot. But how accurate is carbon dating? Do you know? Because
there's still
use
flaws
it like
in
it's.
Yeah,
that's what I would think.
From my understanding, because Danny Jones was talking to Dibble about this, Flint Dibble, and he was saying that so like it's not the stone first. So like we're gonna carbon date a stone. A lot of times it's the organic material that's on the stone or like stuff
Seems like some flaws in that.
Yeah. Like,
well, I found a stick next to it. It's got to be the same age.
The whole deal is, like you were saying earlier, it's like they can kind of come at us with some, we know what we're talking about. Like, like these numbers. Even scientists talking about like how old the earth is. Like, if you throw a million billion number at me, my brain doesn't comprehend that shit. I don't know what a million of anything is. I've never had $1 million. I don't think I've ever had a million anything. I don't even understand the concept of a million. I know I could understand, like, to me, like the highest number I realistically could understand is maybe like 100,000, right? Like realistically, because like I've had $1,000 before, I've had 10,000 before, I've had $10,000 before. So like if I just had 10 times of this okay, cool.
Now we're talking.
But like I don't understand a million. Like and I think you have to have like a million of something to even understand what a million is. I can't understand a million years for damn sure.
Hell no.
I only have 30.
No, I barely understand. Like, when they start talking about like shit was 12,000 years ago, I can't conceptualize like how many people ago that was. But in the grand scope of what they claim the Earth is, how old it is, it seems pretty minuscule.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. They'll find artifacts from like Jurassic period or whatever it is and be like, yeah, this is 5 million years old. And I'm like, how the fuck do you know that? But you know what else? Like I'm not even to get into the fucking flat earth shit. But the other thing that seems where we have to like rely on somebody smarter than us is when they talk about like planets that are fucking 10 light years, 1,000 light years away. And they're like,
listen to a lot of science.
They're like, there's this gas producing this and it's actually raining glass on this planet. And you're like, how the fuck do you know that? Like, oh, trust us. We've got the data.
We went to school. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. A lot of the science, I feel like a lot of the science community's been hijacked with the climate stuff. And so like, if it's like when you tie money to like an idea, that's when it gets scary. Right now, you can make money off climate change because you can enact these big initiatives and you can do like the person that has like some type of like greener solution. Hell yeah. If you say climate change is happening and we're all fucked, your green solution is going to sell.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the people have a vested interest in climate change being real. So like if you get because like we're saying earlier, historians, archaeologists, scientists. Where does their money come from? A lot of times their money comes from they get funded for research. If I'm somebody that can afford to fund your research, I may be somebody that has an agenda.
You know who funded a lot of scientist research?
Who's that?
Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he was big into that. What are they? What are those kind of people? Philanthropists.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill Gates. Oh, weird. A lot of sketchy people happen to be investing in these things. So it's kind of like with religion. I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm not saying science is bullshit. Like, no, obviously it's a way to test theories and come to a hypothesis of what you think could have happened based on evidence. However, for sure, just like the church, it can be hijacked and it can be used to control people, manipulate them.
Yeah.
I mean, you know who David Icke is? He's the guy who made the reptilian theory popular.
That there's a reptoid type people here on Earth, like lizard people?
Yeah, that basically, fucking reptilians, what's up? They're going to be the next president. Or according to him, they already are. But
the lady on the plane, that motherfucker over there is not real.
It's not real. Damn, that bitch fucking changed her story real quick.
Yeah.
But she got threatened.
Oh, yeah.
She was like, I can't talk about this. They won't ever let me fly again. It's like, okay.
She may have seen something, but she may have just been a crazy lady on a plane.
Could have been. She might have took too much Xanax that day.
At least she didn't have the Burger King hat on the plane. You ever seen that one? Just so I don't get in trouble, I'm not going to go to just go home and search guy with a Burger King hat on a plane. It's so bad.
As soon as I get home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's worth looking at. It's crazy. It's bad. It's sorry. And y'all don't get mad at me. Anyways.
But yeah, David Icke, his whole thing is that, where was I going?
He was, you said David Icke. What does he do again? Maybe I'll jog it.
The reptilian thing. But that's not what I was going to talk about. He talks about a lot of stuff, but, basically that we're being controlled and manipulated. Leave the reptilian shit out. We're being controlled and manipulated by a elite group of people who have a lot of money, a lot of power, just a lot of influence. And they are literally creating an illusion around us using media. Controlling information that gets out. That's very...
Yeah. I don't believe in lizards. But everything else you just said, I 100% agree that corporations basically run America.
I guess my point is that at least it's definitely possible for people to manipulate our perception on what's going on.
Mass manipulation.
We've been seeing it. Yeah, exactly.
That's like Hitler making sure everybody in Germany at a certain time had a radio. They were free. You didn't buy a radio right before Hitler took off. They gave you a radio. Here, listen to the message.
Yeah.
Germany got fucked at the end of World War I. They lost, and that's their fault for losing. But at the same time, the I can't remember, some kind of accords or something. We've everybody decided, hey, y'all are some assholes. Now we limit how many people they can have in the army. All this stuff. We basically castrate them, and then that's what that party rose out of. It's if you want, there's a way to mass manipulate, and at that time, why have people buy a radio? Give the motherfuckers a radio so I can tell them what I want them to hear. And that's a lot of why that shit took off. And so now we're dealing with a newer style radio, social media. We just saw, and that's why it's so important that people fight back. That's why you got to have free speech. You have to have all these things, because mass like think of North Korea, mass manipulation happens, right? Those poor people in North, we make fun of Kim Jong-un. Trump calls him Rocket Man. It's wild. He's this crazy dude that in reality
he is
one of the worst people to ever exist. And his poor people don't have a choice. They don't know. Some people, there's North Koreans that don't know.
No, they're living in hell in a bubble.
Yeah. So, mass manipulation is real. You have to find, they have to figure out, if there is an elite group of people, what is our radio? How do we create this Germany, 1939 environment where we can get, and I think for a second there, they kind of had media by the balls for a second. And we was kind of which makes it easier to manipulate.
and the whole, CIA Project Mockingbird, that like they're the ones that put into place all these, these channels for them to like mass manipulate.
I would say that the two-party system, one good thing it does is it does keep things, and there is almost a good thing about the division in the country because it can never swing all the way one way.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to mash that. That is a good thing about being stuck in their ways. And then there's people, they're so tribal, they can't see through it. They can't, they hate their buddy because their buddy voted different than them. It's bad. I hate that. But at the same time, it's a lot harder to mass manipulate people that have two separate opinions.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, there's the other people that believe that governments profit off of us being in division.
Right.
So I don't know which one I believe. So that was just, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. But there's two thoughts there.
Yeah, it's all fucked. It's corrupt. And that's why maybe it won't work. Maybe he's bullshitting. But like Trump, with him like actively talking about like, I'm getting rid of this corruption. I'm bringing in these people. We're getting rid of this. Like if you've been doing, if you've been like trying to overturn elections and shit, or like dabbling in, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. But
I forget what it was, but he made the announcement that like he's going after these people.
Yeah, or even,
nobody's ever done that.
Yeah, nobody.
Maybe he's full of shit. Maybe like they'll become more powerful than ever. But like,
yeah, maybe. But I mean, I wonder what like Musk and Ramaswamy will be able to do, like with their Doge thing they're talking about doing. Which I mean, they're not even talking about it no more. It's a real thing now.
Yeah,
like gutting the government. I mean,
I'm very hopeful.
Seems
and I'll
like a
tell
good
you,
idea.
This is a fucking 180 from where I was. When was the election? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
A month ago. This is a 180 from where I was mentally. Because I'll be honest with you, dude, I was a little jaded. I was like, it don't fucking matter. It don't fucking matter. Yeah. She's going to be the president. Just fucking go ahead and accept it. Like, the shit. Because I've kind of like become of the mind that this shit is so corrupt, I don't think even if he got in or anyone that wanted to change it could.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's so ingrained. But since the election and like since the House went full Republican, the Senate went, in majority, like
he should be able to do a lot of what he wants to do.
It's
it'll be
crazy.
up to. We never had nobody like him. Never, ever, ever. The closest thing was maybe Reagan, and Reagan didn't do anything like that consequential. Like he's talking about taking the whole thing down.
Dave Smith kind of put me onto this because during the whole COVID shit, I was pretty like against what Trump had been doing. The economy was great, in hindsight. I didn't see what was coming. Yeah. But I didn't like, his main thing was like, I'm going to drain the fucking swamp. And I was like, I kept saying like, he didn't. He kept putting people in place.
I don't think he could then first. Yeah.
Which people had said that to me like, well, he tried, but like, I'm like, nah, whatever. Bullshit. He just bullshit.
If he's going to do it, it has to be this time.
But hearing Dave Smith and even hearing Trump say like, look, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah.
I never even stayed in fucking Washington to kick it with these people. I had no idea who to put over this, Department of Defense. I had no idea who to appoint for these important positions. And I picked some bad people. He was looking to other people like, oh yeah, pick this guy. And he's just fucking neocon, fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
Wants death and destruction.
Yeah, war.
And so that kind of opened my eyes to like, okay, well, what I was criticizing of was legitimate. Yeah. But he's openly saying that like, look, I didn't know. But now I've got a different approach and I'm looking to people who do know. And like Jordan Peterson was on that live stream the night of the election. And he said something interesting. He said, we've all kind of written Trump off as this like narcissist, but it's kind of hard to follow that narrative now, seeing him surround himself with such like smart, successful people, because narcissists don't typically bring on competition for them to
they want to be big
hang
dog.
around. Yeah. And I was like, wow, yeah, that's interesting. Like that is.
I like that he brought Tulsi Gabbard over.
Me too.
Plus she's
I love
hot.
her, dude. Yeah. Why not have a hot chick on your side?
Yeah, and she's a badass. You see that video of her the other day? She was out shooting on a range. She's like crawling in the dirt and shit. And I'm just like, well,
bitch, bro.
I like politics.
Yeah, she'll fuck you up.
She's a badass, and she was actually in the military. I don't know. I like RFK. I like Tulsi Gabbard coming over. I feel like the Democrats losing them it was tough. Then like the news, they go on there and they blame the podcasters. We don't have nothing to combat Joe Rogan. That's what they said. You got the thing. You had
a personality.
You had Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
What do you mean we don't have nothing to combat Joe Rogan? You had him.
Yeah.
For all these years, like I said, I've been listening to these older podcasts of Joe Rogan just to see where he was at and just to see how things were. Like he didn't just one day decide to endorse Trump. This wasn't an overnight thing.
No.
This took years. There was things about COVID, the way that CNN attacked him. Like,
that was a big eye opener for him, I think, dude, because he was for a long time, all right, so the start of his podcast, he was very conspiratorial. Like he played with funny idea, like crazy, like, oh, that'd be wild. He gained some like popularity to the point where he had become like very influential. And I think he started to be like, he started seeing things he would say turned against him. And he's like, okay, I need to like tread a little more lightly. Don't be so like flippant to like buy into like, or even play around with stupid ideas. And he was very careful. I think when the COVID shit happened and the media was sent after him like an attack dog, I think it really opened his eyes like, motherfucker, maybe this shit, there's something to this.
Yeah,
like,
y'all are
this
vicious.
really is like, very divisive.
Well, the news takes things out of it, and both sides do it. Like this is not like something that Fox News doesn't do. No, they all do that. But like they like clipping certain parts of people's. You saw it through this election bad on both sides, and it's like, can you believe that Trump wanted to put what's her name in front of a firing line? It's like, can you believe this? This is crazy. And so then I saw that. I'm a source guy. I like to go figure out okay, I saw this clip. I'm like, damn, that sounds terrible. What was it actually said? And then you realize he's talking about she's a war hawk. She wants to go to war.
Yeah.
So how would she feel if she put her in war, put her in front of these rifles pointed back at her and see how she feels?
Wow, what an awful statement.
But they clipped it and made it seem like he said, we need to put her in front of a firing line.
Yep.
Like that's wrong. That's why people don't like the media. They don't.
Well, you notice it's pretty interesting how if you compare to like his 2016 run or even the 2020 one, they've bailed on the like Trump's a racist thing. That used to be their main fucking like he hates everybody that isn't white, and they've like I think they've seen
calling him a Nazi was kind of
for sure, but. Even that, I feel like they were speaking more on the authoritarian, like he's just gonna put us all.
Dude's already been in there for 4 years, and they say he's not going to get out when it's over. Like that doesn't make no sense. Plus, he's going to be 82. Like what? He's going to want to be done.
I have hope that because one of my other thoughts has been like leading up to this election, like, well, so what? He gets in there for 4 years, then what?
Yeah, it's going to be very curious to see what happens after Trump.
JD Vance, like that's pretty promising.
Yeah, I mean, I would vote. I'd vote for him. I'd vote for Tulsi Gabbard. I wouldn't even mind like somebody like Vivek running.
I thought that Trump should pick him as vice president, but now that I've gotten to know more about JD Vance,
turned out to be like the fucking perfect pick.
Yeah, he's seems like a good person, but I still like Vivek. He went on with Charlie Kirk and did one of those like where they go on campus. Yeah, that was good. He's such a smart fucking guy, dude. Like.
But who on the Democrat, like, what are they going to give us? Like AOC, I would vote Democrat. I'm not like just going to vote Republican. Who are they going to give us? Josh Shapiro. I'm not voting for Gavin Newsom. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, that guy
AOC or somebody. Like, what are we, like, who are these shining stars we're supposed to be looking for? I think that's what the Democrats have got to figure out. Because on the other side now, they done lost Tulsi Gabbard. We have people like Vivek.
But they don't want her anyway. And that's the thing, like, is it going to change? Because what it seems like the way they want to run shit, you've got to have a piece of shit that nobody wants in there. Because you got to have a puppet that's like, fuck all my morals and
I can
I'm
see
down
why they
for
don't,
the New World
the
Order.
Democrats don't want Tulsi Gabbard.
But I mean,
she could have been a person of color and the first woman.
Absolutely.
Like, why not run Tulsi Gabbard for president? Why not?
Because she wasn't going to follow orders. She was going to do what's right.
And why they keep screwing Bernie out of shit? Like the Democrats party's got some bad issues. Like the way their deal is set up, the way their primary is set up, they control their primary the way it's set up. So like all those two different times Bernie should have won.
And he's a fucking hypocritical socialist. But yes, they definitely cheated him for sure.
But like they
look what they just did with the last
with the Democrats. But enough of them get in line and say, "Hey, we want Bernie."
We want our fucking party back.
Yeah.
You've hijacked it. You don't even let us have a say in it.
Yeah.
Literally, the last two fucking elections. Did they do it on the last one?
Well, they did it to Hillary. They substituted Bernie out for Hillary, basically, and it was real sketchy.
Right.
Then they substituted Bernie out for Biden, and it was real sketchy.
Okay,
and
they did it on that one too.
Because it was looking that way. Then Obama stepped in and was like, "No, we need Biden." And see, like it feels like he might just be pulling all the strings. And like when they could tell they were starting to lose, that's when you saw Obama. Obama was out there, and he was like, it seemed like it was his campaign at that point.
You know, that was another thing Charleston White was talking about was like when Obama like came out. Did you see a statement he made? Like he's like basically speaking to black men. Like,
said you're weak if you don't vote for.
Like it was like some fucking degrading shit.
Yeah.
Like, look, you either fucking do what I'm telling you to do, or like you.
See, I talked to Derek Keener, and Derek Keener is real liberal, and he's a great guy. Like there's not like
Dude,
he's
I have liberal friends.
Oh yeah, me too. Tons
the ones
of them.
that aren't scared of me now. But.
And me and him. So every week at the end of our comedy show, we like debate at the end, and so we've been going at it like pretty hard, like friendly, obviously, but like I brought this up. I said, "How did you feel like as a black guy when he said that?" And he was like, he said, "I took it as like." What it was supposed to be, like just a challenge. So like that didn't offend him. But see, I talked to other black people and they're like, no, I didn't like that shit. But
it seemed fucking
yeah.
I
don't know.
I just don't like him. Like he's another one that like I don't know, dude.
So when we talk about all this, to go big picture, here's where I still get scared because I feel like these are all scumbags. Like there's that thought in the back of my head.
You
like,
mean left and right?
Oh, everybody. Yeah.
With a few little like...
Because think about all the people like the shining moments, because like Clinton did a lot of cool things, but at the same time, they put some kind of embargoes on one of them countries over there, and like 500,000 people starved.
Yeah.
And then like all the sex scandals and shit like that. It's like, okay, like this like despite this good, you can lump it. So like that, like when people go against Trump, they're like, well, what about these people saying that he raped them or this and that? It's like, if you look at all these presidents, you look at Obama with the drone strikes, you look at Obama, the way he said he was going to go after, he was going to protect whistleblowers, and then we didn't protect whistleblowers at all. Shit like that. And then you look at Trump, and like Trump said he was going to drain the swamp. He didn't drain the swamp. They said there wasn't going to be this and that. And then there was that. And then we looked at Biden. They said that we wasn't going to go to war. And then then they got involved in two wars.
I feel like Biden gets a pass. Okay. He wasn't even really trying.
But the people behind him though. But it's like, exactly. Every one of these, like you keep going further and further back. It's like, well, every president seems to do like dark, unbelievable shit.
It's a hard job too.
Definitely.
You know?
Definitely.
You're going to fuck up. But I definitely think that it's all fucking being manipulated behind the scenes on both sides.
Yeah.
And that's why they fucking cannot stand for Donald Trump to be in there. Because he's not being controlled by those.
You think he's not in the loop?
I think he ain't playing ball.
Yeah.
They're like, hey man, this ain't how the fucking game goes. And he's like, yeah, fuck the game. I'm like gonna fuck the game up. How about that? I'm gonna, like this would be way more beneficial to the American people to do this way. And they're like, no, wait. We have fucking,
we've been doing this
money
shit.
We're being made on the other side of that. Like,
it's like,
he just throws a wrench in the whole thing.
I don't know. I think the problem is it's so complicated that I think almost everybody with any belief at this point can be hypocritical. I mean, can't be, who really is sure enough in what's been told to us that we really can believe all this stuff, and then all that stuff. Who in America actually has it right in every deal? There's no way. I feel like we even all believe some type of lie from news or social media, because we've praised podcasts, but how much bullshit gets said on podcasts?
Yeah, probably more bullshit than good shit, honestly.
Yeah. So I mean, it's what I'm saying is how can we not be hypocrites? Like the system is so flawed that if you get behind it 100%, that almost makes you a hypocrite.
Yeah.
If you say the system is too flawed, I don't want to get involved, that kind of makes you a hypocrite because you're bitching about shit and not doing your part. But then you might flip back the other way and say, well, I don't really think my vote counts. And it's like, it's all up to the Electoral College, and in a way it is. But then when you see like the way, like a landslide victory, like this last one, I mean, she got her ass kicked. That's just real. Okay, well then maybe voting does count. It's like, but what if I don't live in a swing state? maybe it doesn't count. But then they're like, hey, Texas might be blue one day. And we say, okay, well, if
fuck that up this time.
Yeah, so it's like maybe your vote does count. So I just feel
it's like what's the move? Yeah, I feel that way all the time. I'm like, there's like that battle inside of you to be like, I don't want to give a shit about this. Like, what? It's probably all rigged anyway. Like, y'all fucking do it.
No.
But then you're like, well, then you're like just bowing out on your like constitutional right to be involved in it.
And in 2020, I voted for Joe Jorgensen. I was conflicted.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was doing the right thing, and it did absolutely nothing. Like, I mean, that's like almost like wasting a vote. But at the same time, I feel like that's not wasting your vote, because I followed my heart in that situation. Because I don't know, at that moment, and I wasn't informed enough anyway. At that moment, I didn't like neither of them. So I don't know. Like you're saying, I think it's almost impossible to not be hypocritical about shit.
Yeah, it's definitely like a complex, like impossible. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting these next 4 years. We'll see what happens. I mean,
I feel like it's like a puzzle. So like, imagine putting together a puzzle, and like trying to understand politics is like trying to put together a puzzle that doesn't have all the pieces, or even has pieces. So let's say I have 1,000-piece puzzle, right? And in this pile of puzzle, I'm missing some of the actual pieces, and there's like pieces from 2 other puzzles. And that's what you have. If you can put all that shit together, you get a clear view.
Yeah, good fucking luck.
That's really how I feel. I feel like it is that complicated. So we talked about aliens. We talked about ageless civilizations, the election.
This is really on par with our conversations that we had last.
Yeah, I already knew it was going to go like this. I mean,
that's shit I like to talk about.
I forgot to like, hey, how long you been tattooing? Like, where are you at? All that stuff.
I like when a conversation goes rogue, and it's just like.
Because I was going to like interview you, but I forgot, bro.
I forgot. There's a lot going on in the world.
Yeah, so. But I've stopped calling these interviews. That is one thing. Yeah. I've stopped calling them interviews. This is not an interview no more. I've just said...
It puts pressure
I just start saying this is an episode. So like if I post like this will be the Justin Birtcher episode. It dropped now. Because interview... It's not an interview. Like, can I interview in this? Yeah, sure. I could ask you the standard questions like, how long you been tattooing? What do you like about it? Like, what's the worst client you deal with? Or, but I mean, I've interviewed like fucking 12 tattoo artists now. I get the gist. Like, we could go down the same path.
You do fucking tattoos. Okay, y'all kind of the same.
Yeah, so this is fun. I'd rather do this.
Me too. I mean, this is the fun shit to talk about. It's the shit that...
Is it funny? It's funny that the shit that we absolutely 100% cannot solve is the funnest shit to talk about.
Oh, dude, I'm ate up with it, which is like kind of unfortunate. I'm like fucking obsessed with shit that I'll never figure out. I'll never come to.
I get sad because I'm like, dude, I'm going to die and not really know the truth of some of this shit that I really like. Oh,
God, I can't go now.
Yeah, there's a chance that like we won't figure out like stuff about the pyramids. And I'll die and I won't know.
Fucking that one eats me up. Yeah. I need to know. Like, what the fuck happened?
That's stressful to me.
How did they move it 500 miles?
I get sad thinking about like me and my mom were watching this TV show when she passed. And like, I can't even watch that TV show no more because I'm like, damn, she didn't get to see the end of it. Like, I'm not, sorry, that was like a really sad, but anyways, but like just, dude, there's going to come a day, bro, where I'm halfway through a TV series and I'm going to die and I'm not going to figure out what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad. I don't know why.
The older I get, I think about that shit more and more, and it sucks. I'm just like, yeah, it's bad. Like I used to get on a plane, and I'm on a fucking plane. I'm fucking gonna land here. Now, every time I contemplate my mortality, I'm like, man, this would be a shit way to go. Like,
dude, I've never got on a plane.
Just at home, they'll never see me ever again. Like,
I've never got on a plane and not thought this bitch might go down. The plane has ever since I was a kid. When I get on a plane, I'm like, I'm seriously risking it all. It makes any noise.
I'm like, is that normal? What the fuck? When they do the little chime that they're like it, I'm like, what the fuck? What's that alarm for?
I can't sleep.
Are they about to drop the oxygen mask?
I can't sleep on planes. I get claustrophobic. Yeah. I really don't like flying, but I will do it.
Yeah, I'm pretty claustrophobic too.
Dude,
if I start thinking about the fact I'm like in a tube in the middle of
30,000 feet there,
surrounded by a bunch of hot breathing motherfuckers, I'm just like, I start hyperventilating.
I go to the bathroom every time the light comes on.
I drink Tito's and orange juice.
So yeah, I don't drink no more. But it's like
I don't really either.
When
That's how bad it
if
is.
the light comes on and we can unbuckle our seatbelt, I go to the bathroom. Every time the option to get up is the option, I will get up because it just makes me feel better. Like, okay, I can move around.
Yeah, let me roam freely. You were free to roam.
You know what's bad? Have you ever took a dump on a plane?
I haven't. Thank God.
I did, and I just thought it was funny. Like I was like, we were flying to Miami, and I'm like, I think I can make it. But I'm like, dude, I need to shit on a plane.
I'm gonna write this on my list.
Yeah, this is like bucket list material. Like I'm about to shit on a plane, and just imagine, like the smell can't go anywhere. Where could the smell go? So it's like the next person that gets on after you, like, goes in that bathroom, and everyone sees everyone go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, that next person's gonna walk in and be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Was that fucking guy.
It was that guy.
I saw him make the fucking awkward walk back. I saw him
do it.
It is an awkward walk back.
Would you ever skydive? Would you ever do something like that?
No.
Me and my wife are planning on it.
It's one of my things that I'm just like, sure, it's exhilarating, but here's the thing. In my mind, I'm like, the moment I realize that parachute's not coming out, I'm gonna be like, this was not worth it. Like, this was like this. I could have just as easily stayed on the fucking ground.
You gotta have the second parachute. You gotta have the second one.
I believe you, but here's the other thing. I gotta rely on the fucker strapped to my back too, because I'm not gonna be able to have that call to make. So
I always thought that was weird. Like, you're gonna share like one of the greatest moments of your life, and there's some dude strapped to your back. Like, yeah, bro, this is gonna be fucking magical. like
that.
We're pulled a hole 30,000 feet in the air. I don't know how far that. No, it's not that high. No.
You're like the baby on The Hangover, strapped to fucking Zach Galifianakis' back.
I'm gonna get you. He's like rubbing your stomach. I'm gonna get you down.
What did you name the baby? Remember when those T-shirts were a thing? You remember that when Hangover said it's hot?
Yeah,
and it had the baby on your chest and the little.
I only saw the first one. I never watched any of the other ones. The first one, like Tyson and the tiger, and we ain't talked about that. Did you watch the fight?
I tried.
You did?
I tried.
I tried my damnedest.
Saw all of 10 seconds of it.
You see his ass?
I did.
Awesome. Yeah, then you saw the show.
Yeah, that was probably the most entertaining part of it.
I made a clip that did better than most clips I post, and my whole point was we got a whole lot of buffering and butt cheeks.
Yeah, that was.
It was crazy. Like the Mexican dudes, they were warriors. They were beating the fuck out of each other. It's like an awesome fight. It kept buffering out, kicking me out. Then these ladies beat the dog shit out of each other.
Talks about the ladies.
And it was kicking me out. Then the screen goes crystal clear. Mike Tyson goes up to his son and they talk, and then he kisses him on his cheek. And I'm like, what a wholesome moment. And my TV's not buffering now. Turns around, ass cheeks, clear as crystal. Then we get to then you get to the fight, and it's like, it's a terrible fight. He's old as shit. It's possibly rigged. I don't fucking know. Who knows? And it's like underwhelming.
Questioning
but it was
my reality now.
The most streamed live event like ever. I think that's what they said. But it was so underwhelming.
You think McGregor's going to get in there with Jake?
No, I don't think so. But I think he would beat the brakes off of him. McGregor did decent.
Oh, didn't he call him out in the MMA?
Oh, dude.
Yeah, he recently, That's
the thing.
That's
the thing, dude. Yeah, Floyd Mayweather fights like Conor McGregor and MMA, it's a fucking wrap. The first time they clinch, he's dead. It's like McGregor did something very, very like admirable. Like, it was crazy that he could get in there. And now maybe Floyd may have pulled some punches just for money purposes and shit. But like the fact that he could even get in there and box with him is wild. Yeah. And after Floyd kind of found his cadence,
land more shots than anyone ever had.
No. Floyd is too.
It was something crazy
evasive.
like that.
But I mean, he was landing more than we thought. But once Floyd found his rhythm, it's easier, because boxers go a lot off of like, if your rhythm gets fucked up in MMA, you just grab a motherfucker. And kicking, like, it doesn't translate.
Once motherfucker figures you out.
Yeah, but you put Floyd in there with Conor McGregor in the MMA cage, he's fucked. The first time they clinch, he's
leg
destroyed.
Kick, he's done.
Yeah, Floyd would never get close enough to punch him just because he could just keep him at a distance from kicking.
He'd be front kicking the shit out of him. But really, he just fuck him. I guarantee he takes one leg kick.
Yeah, Jake Paul in the MMA ring, he's gonna get fucked.
Yeah, the only thing, Jake is pretty big guy, and apparently he can wrestle. Like, I like pretty good wrestler.
Wrestling doesn't translate to new MMA.
Well, you're going to have to take him down, and I don't see you, without getting kicked in the face, I don't see you taking him down.
Let's say you're a world champion wrestler, like regular wrestling. They are going to dog you out in MMA now because they don't do that. There's this there's too much jiu-jitsu. There's too much all that other extracurricular shit. Yeah.
I mean, especially with like, if your only move is like, I'm going to shoot in and take him down. Well, also, what are you going to do with him once you get him there?
Yeah.
Like, McGregor might not be the greatest fucking jiu-jitsu player, but he's better than fucking Jake Paul, who's never done a single competition.
And even ground and pound. Like, if he ever got into a situation where he's like in full mount or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, how are you as a regular person going to stop from getting your face beat in?
Yeah.
That's like, I don't know.
I was thinking more on the boxing, but I forgot that Jake called him out in MMA.
That's just goofy.
He's just a fucking hype lord. He's
like, I don't know if you know the Speed guy that's a streamer. Yeah. That and Speed called him out. And so that's more than likely the type of route he's going to end up going, I would say. He's not, he called out Canelo. Like, come on, dude. Canelo's going to beat the fucking brakes off.
Well, I said it before he ever fought Tommy Fury. I was like, if this motherfucker gets in the ring with an actual boxer that like has like a real professional record, like then I'll be fucking...
Not a 58-year-old boxer with a professional record.
But Tommy Fury beat him, first bout. And that went exactly how I thought.
Somebody's going to drop Jake Paul. And when it does, a lot of people are going to be satisfied.
He's going to quit fighting old, retired people. And he's going to
fight the wrong person one day. And somebody's going to drop him.
He's going to fight an actual boxer. And they're going
I can't wait because I wanted, like in my soul, I wanted Mike Tyson to knock him out. I knew it wasn't going to happen.
No.
But in my soul, I wanted that. I want to see him get destroyed.
I was told that there was a clause in their contract that if Mike knocked him out within the first 2 rounds, he like lost so many $1 million. Is that true?
I don't know. We'd have to fact check.
Because if that is, look it up, Jamie.
Yeah,
if that's true, then that is like by definition rigged. Yeah. Like you incentivized him to not win the fight too early.
Did you see the first time he kind of came at him, Jake like flailed? Until he kind of got a better situation. Oh, so you didn't watch it?
I went back and watched some highlights, but I haven't watched the whole fight.
He came in and Jake was kind of like, he got away from him. Like, I think at the beginning it could have been bad. I'm not sure if it's rigged or if he's just old. I'm on the fence about it.
So my cousin was saying, he's like, man, and then he just didn't even look like Mike Tyson in the like later rounds. I was like, yeah, but dude, he's 58 years old. Like 8 rounds is a lot.
Yeah. He was probably Lieutenant Dan at that point.
Yeah. I mean, Jake definitely has age and like cardio on him for sure.
Yeah.
And steroids. He's got a lot of steroids on him.
Somebody knock that motherfucker out there.
Please.
Somebody out there. Please knock Jake Paul ass out. I want to see it so bad.
I know.
I want to see that shit so bad.
And that's why he exists. Because everybody wants him to be knocked out.
Yeah. Man, what else? Any other topics before we get off? We could actually talk about tattooing for a second. Where are you at now? You're at Black Pines, right?
At Black Pines. Sweet. Yeah. Black Pines Gallery.
How long have you been doing it?
A little over 3 years now.
3 years?
Oh. Yeah. Still a little baby in it, really.
How's it been for you? Like the experience? Like
it's been crazy, man. To be honest with you, like you have to start out sucking. Like there's just no ways about it.
Right. Which is scary, putting something bad on somebody for you. Ever?
It is. It's so intimidating. And then I pursued it later in life. So like I didn't have.
How old are you now?
I'm 33 now.
Okay, so you started at 30.
Like right at 30.
Yeah.
So I think I was 29 when I like got my apprenticeship.
A lot of people start earlier than that, huh?
Oh yeah, most I'd say like the majority of people start pretty young because they start out wanting to do it. I just didn't. I always loved art and drawing, but I never thought about it. So I lived a whole fucking life, work career before.
What'd you do before?
Electrical work and like while I was doing my apprenticeship, I was doing dispatching from home. Like
you miss any of that or
no, not at all.
No. Yeah.
I knew my whole life I did not want to work 9 to 5. It felt so
right.
It just didn't feel right. I just didn't know what it was I wanted to do. So when I finally figured it out, it was like a light bulb went off. I was like, fuck. I was just thinking about like it would line up with the way I want my life to work, Right. So yeah.
A lot of people have these like what they want their life to be. But like a lot of times you're going to have to go do something crazy in order to get that. So a lot of people don't, they live their everyday life and it doesn't even line up with like how they want their life to be.
No. And it was very inspiring to go through it because I had to sacrifice a lot. You know, like a lot of time. Like I said, I was 30 years old. I have to make money. I have bills. I have, at the time, a fiance and a stepson. Like, I can't just live off my parents.
Yeah, you can't just not make money. Yeah.
So basically, every moment that I had outside work, I had to spend in the shop, basically just being a shop bitch and like just scrounging for, really scrounging. Where I started, we had like several apprentices. So like, you're just like trying to be the guy that gets taught the most, you know? But
where'd you start at?
Texarkana.
Okay.
Yeah. Thomas Wester was the one that like took me on and gave me an apprenticeship. But from the moment I found out that Joaquin was opening a shop, I kind of, in my head, it was like those things, you have those moments where you're like, man, that's what I want to do. That's where I want to be. And I knew what a good artist he was. And I just, in my head, and so like through that, I learned a lot of like manifestation. I feel like it's just a word, but there's something very real in that like if you put all your energy into acquiring a thing, like odds are you can make it happen. You just gotta, it's not gonna be easy. And I had moments where I was like, fuck, dude, I was broke. I was like working this fucking job, making not much money, and then having not much of a life outside work, you know, sacrificing time at home with the family to go sit and be like, the people I was apprenticing with were like 18, a lot of them. So it's like me, this grown ass man, but I took it way more serious than they did. I feel
age
like,
helps with that. Yeah. So that was an advantage for sure.
It was for sure. And I just had this like, I can't fail mentality. You know, I don't got time to fuck around. I already felt bad that it was this late in life that I was getting started. So I was like, I got to make up ground, you know? Yeah.
It is cool that you can find your purpose later though. That a lot of people are like, as soon as they get out of high school, they're like, I got to find my career. And it's like, dude, the coolest shit you may do in your life maybe later. Yeah. Which is cool. Yeah. It's like, gives you hope in the future. Like this may not even be the coolest shit I ever do. Like I may do something cooler than this later. Yeah, you just never know. Yeah.
I mean, it's been inspiring. So like I'm about to get a guy on my podcast that has a similar story. He started when he was like 30. And it's just, it kind of gives you hope to like,
I forgot we didn't even plug your podcast. Like we should do that like at the beginning. Bro, we just immediately
we're going to have to do this all over again.
No. We're good. So what's the name of your podcast?
Bold Lines. Bold Lines podcast. It's focuses on tattooing, but I've recently started doing like music. I have people come in and do like a live studio session, playing their music and telling their story about how they got started.
That's cool. That's jam session is what you're calling it?
Jam sesh, yeah.
That's cool.
It's just on my other podcast channel right now, but...
Okay, so there's a separate channel.
No, it's on the same channel.
Oh, same channel? Okay, it's just...
I'll probably end up separating it just to be lazy.
I keep it together.
Yeah. I just kind of like hyphenate it, like jam sesh on Bold Lines.
I would keep it together.
Yeah.
Maybe like later if like people really lean more one way, right? Like I'm here for just this, then maybe I should separate this. But right now I would just
you don't want to start over with subscribers and shit. Like shit's hard enough to gain.
Like my Addicted to Arguing page, I secretly wish that I just made it a mini series, and then I would be like over 100 episodes, and I would be like every time Addicted to Arguing would come up, they would know like, okay, this is this type of episode.
It's associated. Yeah.
And that way. It could have been the same thing, and I'm maybe dumb for separating it, but
see, I wasn't sure which way to go. So like out of like not knowing, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna put it out. And
I tried together.
It's fun, man.
From what I've learned.
I do love music. Like I'm not super talented in like making music, so I think it's played a huge role in my life. Like it influences a lot of aspects of my life. So, and in recent years, I've known like a lot of artists, you know, and I like the whole reason I'm in the podcast thing to begin with is like, I want to bring cool shit to our community. Like,
right. Yeah, that's what
it's not a big town, but it ain't small. And I feel like there's like a lot of potential, and like getting a collab with you doing it. Like, I think it's cool. I love to see you like doing shit and winning, you know, like, I don't know. I just like, I like to help other people prop their shit up and like collaborate and just make a cool community. Like,
when I first started, I was like, dude, who am I going to interview? And now there's like, I have a list in my phone. There's like 25 more people that I know for sure I want to interview. And I've talked to a lot of them already.
Wow.
It's like, and the cool thing about interviewing people and like, I say interviewing, but having episodes with, is that they all know somebody. It's like this, and you get into all these different circles. Like I'm deep in the tattoo community from interviewing like 2 or 3 tattooers that I knew already. But now it leads me to this direction. It leads me to you that have a podcast. It leads me to Sandy Spades that opened the first one here in town. It leads me to, Jessica Dillard and you know what I'm saying, which I went to school with her, but you know what I'm saying? It's that type of deal. Like I interviewed one UFC fighter that I knew, and then I ended up interviewing another one, not UFC, but MMA fighter, and another one. And then I'm like, well, hell, let me get their coach on.
A whole new world. Yeah.
So I get the coach on, and then, he's got the Texarkana Combat Sports. Well, that opens up that ties into the peak fighting. And so like, I've got some stuff going with that coming up. And then it's like you meet, then like the professor route. I'm about to get pipelined into the professors to come on because the history guy was like, this was awesome. I had a great time. I'm going to send you more professors.
Hell yeah, dude.
And I found him from interviewing Brian Matthews, who's a professor there. And Brian Matthews is a dude that's just out in the community. He just does so much shit.
Yeah.
And then I was like, hey, I need a historian. Can you hook me up? And he was like, yeah, here's his info.
Yeah.
So I
love that you don't limit yourself because like...
I talk to everybody.
Yeah. Well, and I like that it's like a local, like with our community, like I was saying, like it's kind of putting a spotlight on other people who do cool shit, because I feel like we don't do that enough in this town. Is there's not a lot of support.
And there's no long form support neither. Like you can get a news segment, you can get like Gazette, or you can get like Texarkana FYI, or a lot of people, they can come do like a little 5-minute segment on you.
Yeah.
But like, how do I get to know about the guy that created Texarkana Game Day? I have to talk to him for an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like having Morgan Smith.
Yeah.
Morgan Smith messaged me last night asking me for advice. I'm like, dude, you own Texarkana Game Day. Like, you are the media man. I need to be, I should be texting you for advice, but he texted me about podcast advice. It's like, in what world is somebody that can get the...
You created it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's what I was talking about with what I've learned through tattooing. It's like, I'm now translating it to other avenues of my life. Like I just see the potential in everything now. Where used to I felt so limited and like, well, I'm not even good at anything. Like I had all these dreams and aspirations, but I didn't know how to go about approaching them. And now if I think about doing it, like odds are, if I think about it hard enough, I'm like, I'm doing this shit.
Yeah.
I don't entertain any bullshit anymore in my life. I just kind of like, it's kind of to a fault, and it's probably not the healthiest thing, but like I obsess about tattooing. I obsess about podcasting, and I mix my family in there together, and like that keeps me busy.
Yeah. Dude, I'm obsessive about this for sure.
Yeah.
And you give up a chunk of your life, but it's like you were saying earlier, like right now I have another business. I work all day. Like today I pumped 3 septic tanks, and I knew that when I got home, I was going to have to try to maximize that time and then be back here by 7:30 to set up for something that starts at 8 that's going to go till 10:30 more than likely. So it's like, that is a day. And then now I'm behind 3 I have 3 things that need to be edited, and they're all an hour and 30 minutes long.
Dude, that's where all the work is that people don't see, is the fucking behind the scenes. Like,
dude, these 3 videos, the 2 of them, this one's going to be 2 hours. The one I did last night was 2 hours, and another one was an hour and 30 minutes. So it's like, that's almost 6 hours of interviewing that I still got to, of editing that's got to be done.
Well, depending on your editing process, like, you don't think of this, like, it's 2-hour conversation. It's going to take me longer than 2 hours to fucking edit it.
Dude, that's why, maybe it's lazy, maybe it is, but that's why I don't edit very much. I do not edit very much.
The only editing I do is the camera switching.
Yeah, and see, I used to do that, but it's like, I don't got time for that.
It's a lot of work.
If I was going, I would lose I would do at least 1 less a week for sure if I was doing the camera switching, because I'd have to replace that time. So like, for me, I feel like at this stage, if I can save that time, I can talk to more people, and I feel like I need to talk to more people at that time.
Yeah.
But I only have 1 camera. Yeah. So like this view, that's why I focus so hard to try to make this look as cool as possible. Yeah. Because I'm not finna fucking zoom in on this shit. I don't got time. Maybe one day I can pay somebody.
Well, and then I like to I don't know, I'm weird. Like I like to fucking get artistic with everything that I do. Yeah. But I like throwing in like somebody mentions this, I'll bring up a video or a picture, and like I don't know, like it was just a niche that an idea I had. I don't know. Maybe I'll eventually go like, this is fucking useless and nobody even gives a shit that I do that. But like, I feel like I'm putting my soul into it.
Right.
Like,
and that's what you got to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
your show's going to have your flavor, especially if you're editing like me. This is our flavor, like everything about it.
Mm-hmm.
From editing to talking to everything.
To who you talk to. Yeah. I'm constantly thinking about like, what's my next move? Like, how am I going to, but I will say this, I'm never thinking about like, oh, what do people are going to want to see? Like, I don't, obviously I consider like, is this entertaining? But I never go like, is this what I should do to become more popular?
Yeah.
Like, I kind of take Rogan's philosophy on that. I'm like, 100%, what interests me? If I think it's entertaining, somebody else thinks it's entertaining.
Somebody like me out there.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you're hoping to find.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a bunch of people that think
that's
similar
who your fans are going to be.
Yeah.
Like it or not.
Yeah. So like, I'm 100%. I talk to who I want to talk to. I've already heard, I've done a bunch of them, like a ton of them now. So people are like, why'd you have him on here? Why'd you have her on here? I fucking wanted to.
Yeah.
Because I like talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
I like having my shit challenged.
Yeah.
Talking to Sandy was challenging. She had a lot of points that I've never thought of. And I was like, damn. Like,
Yeah.
She's been live a lot longer than me. She's seen it. She comes from a different scene than me. Like, there was a lot of views she had where I've always just kind of had my own little fucking views from whatever I picked up. And I was like, oh, damn. Like, this is kind of challenging to what I think. That's good, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like Derek Keener, man. I can't mention him enough, bro. Me and him going at it every week is challenging.
Yeah.
It's challenging because I have these things that I hear from people and I'm like, I trust this shit. Mm-hmm. And then I meet somebody that disagrees and I'm like, what the fuck? What do you mean? Like,
it's interesting to see why and how they came to that.
For sure.
You're like, damn, well, I didn't live that way. So I didn't even,
He's so respectful and he's very smart. He's very smart. So like,
yeah,
it's fun.
It's a motherfucker.
Yeah, definitely. Somebody that's very smart. And what ties our whole show together is the guy Chief that sits right here. So I sit here, Derek sits here, and then there's like the most neutral motherfucker you ever met in your entire life sits between us. And he's like,
he's kind of got a point.
Yeah, but no.
Joe, maybe you should listen to him.
So the Addicted Argument, I feel like I should have put it all together. But see, that the point I was going to say last to you is that like, this is some trial and error shit. Like this podcast and stuff right now, the way I'm doing it, the way you're doing it, it's all trial and error. You could ask me like, what are some secrets? What are some tips? Because I've done more than you. And I can tell you kind of sort of what's worked for me. But at the same time, like there's going to be things that you try that work better for you. And like, there's these algorithms that are changing. And it's like, that's what I was talking to somebody and they were like, man, give me the game. And I'm like, dude, I don't know the game. I am literally like, this is like a volume thing. Mm-hmm. I do a lot of shit because I don't know what works. Mm-hmm. And so I do a bunch of shit because I'm like, something will work eventually, right?
Just went at it, and that's life in a fucking nutshell. Like, you just got to make overthink episodes. It. Just go. Yeah. Just fucking do it. And that is the main thing I could tell you. Like if you was to ask me, you say, okay, Joe, what have you learned from all these episodes you've done? Do episodes. Like, I think weekly is like, and I know that's tough. It's repetition for anything you do. But you want your people tapped in. If Matt and Shane don't drop something next week, I'm going to be like, what in the fuck is going on in the world? Yeah. Like, why don't I get, because I have shows, I count on them shows. That's what I do at work. All I do at work is listen to podcasts. Well, that's why I started the music thing, because it's, first of all, something I'm interested in. I thought it was a cool lane to pick where people come in and play, but also give you their story. I kind of got the room set up where it sounds good acoustically. So, but I was just kind of running out of tattooers to interview, like around here. I'm working on some that are like, I'm pretty excited about, but like I travel to them and I kind of like that. It's kind of cool. I come to their environment and interview them. But in the meantime, I was like, fuck, I need to be doing some podcasts. But like, I'm kind of this whole like you gotta only out. Tattooers thing. Like, yeah, I need to. And it never, honestly, my intentions weren't to only do tattooers. I was just like, this is a part, like a niche thing that I think's interesting. And there are a lot of interesting people involved in it. And it's something I know about. So But I want to, I definitely am not limiting myself to who I'll have on.
Yeah.
That's why I reached out to you. Like,
I had a blast.
Hey, there's a good conversation right there. This guy talks basically for a living. And I knew you just seemed like a guy I'd probably get along with. And
oh, yeah, I knew immediately. I was like, yeah, we're finna talk.
yeah. And we have these 2 episodes.
Yeah, I was excited to talk to you. Because it's like, I never know when coming in. Well, sometimes I know. But, especially once I've talked to you, like if another conversation happens on camera, I'm like, yes, I can kind of chill a little bit. Yeah. It's like, I know, like if I stop talking right now, you'll just start talking.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're like when that's why I don't like that word interviewing. Sometimes you get in an interview type of situation, people are waiting for that question,
you feel
answer,
like you're delivering
dynamic.
something. Yeah. And it's like structured and you're obligated to, yeah.
How many things have you talked about today that you love? That you really love, that really interests you, like today in this podcast?
Oh, that I love?
Yeah, that like you're passionate about.
I mean, everything. I mean,
then we win.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. That's the formula. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be like backed into a corner of like, all right, so where'd you grow up? I don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Because I mean, and that's another thing to think about. I mean, a realistic thing to think about. Who gives it? Like, if I was interviewing, and don't take this the wrong way, but if I was interviewing somebody famous and I would say, where were you born? Where was this? It would be more entertaining to people.
Yeah.
Because they know this person has already done this. But it's like, if I ask you, even if you're a big deal here in town, like, well, where were you born? Oh, well, I was born in Wadley. It's like, okay, well, that's not all that entertaining.
So
that's
bitch.
Yeah, we were all born in Wadley or St. Michael's, buddy. Like, that's not all that special. Like, so I don't know, the question, the interview style.
The meat and potatoes of like your life. But also like, where you at mentally right now?
That's cool.
With the election going on, like, hate to fucking talk about it. I don't think anybody wants to talk about it, but like, motherfucker, it's what's going on right now.
Yeah. I think I secretly like doing it, but I hate it, but I secretly like talking about it.
I agree. It's man, it's fucking exciting. Like at the very least, no matter what side of the aisle you fall on, or like if you're optimistic or fucking jaded, it's fucking exciting. Like the world's crazy right now.
Yeah.
There's fucking aliens. There's ancient civilizations. We got to figure out where the fuck all this started.
Yeah. As long as we don't blow each other up. That's just my big thing. Like, it's cool that the world's crazy. It gives us lots to talk about. As long as they don't blow this bitch up. Like, that's, I really hope they don't.
The Fear Factor guys changing election fucking outcomes.
Oh
like,
my God. Yeah. UFC commentator changes elections. That's wild. But anyways, that seemed like a good point to end it. You said your piece. You said everything you need to say today.
I think so. I think I got it all out.
Me too. I'm tired. It's been a long day.
Me too.
But this is fun, man. Thank you for coming on, dude.
Yeah, bro.
I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. For the channel, like, share, subscribe, do all that cool shit. Go over to the Joe Teel podcast clips. I'll have clips from this episode, clips from all my episodes, shorts. So if you want long form, short form, whatever you need, I got it. Follow me on Facebook. Follow him on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. It's just your name, right?
Justin Birtcher, and then Bold Lines on YouTube.
Yes, sir. That's where you can find them. Yeah, man. Thanks for tuning in this long, man. If you made it through this whole thing, you're a warrior. We appreciate you. You have a blessed day.